Gotham City breathed corruption like other cities breathed air. It festered in the alleys where neon signs flickered their last desperate lights. It pooled in the gutters where rain mixed with blood and oil, creating rainbows that promised nothing but more darkness. It crawled up the sides of Art Deco towers that had once symbolized hope, now monuments to the city's slow decay into madness and despair. This was a place where shadows had weight, where darkness possessed malevolence, where even the architecture seemed designed to break the human spirit. Crime Alley earned its name nightly, the dimensional tear-split reality with the sound of tearing silk and screaming metal. Purple-black energy hemorrhaged into the narrow passage between two crumbling brownstones, spilling light that had no business existing in this universe. The rift vomited forth a figure that hit the wet pavement in a crouch, double-bladed lightsaber igniting with a snap hiss that echoed off brick walls. Red plasma blades cast crimson shadows across garbage and graffiti, illuminating a warrior who should not exist. Darth Maul rose to full height, yellow eyes scanning the urban decay with predator intensity. His horned head turned slowly, taking in the architecture, the primitive vehicles, the absence of speeders or droids. The Force sang differently here, darker, heavier, saturated with centuries of suffering and rage. It called to him like recognizing like. His homeworld of Dathomir had prepared him for darkness. But this place, this Gotham, wore its corruption openly, proudly, like a badge of honor. The lightsaber extinguished with a whisper. Maul's tactical mind, honed through years of Sith training under Darth Sidious, processed his situation with cold efficiency. Unknown planet, unknown system. The Force presence felt wrong, as though filtered through something ancient and malevolent. His connection remained intact but muted, like shouting through water. His lightsaber functioned perfectly. Technology cared nothing for dimensional barriers. His body responded normally. He was operational at acceptable capacity. A scream pierced the night. Maul moved without conscious thought, leaping to a fire escape with Force-enhanced agility. His boots hit rusted metal with barely a sound as he ascended 3 stories in heartbeats. On the rooftop, Gotham spread before him like a diseased organism. Lights struggling against encroaching darkness, towers reaching toward clouds that promised only more rain, distant sirens wailing their impotent protests against chaos. Below, in an alley parallel to his arrival point, 3 figures surrounded a 4th. Male voices, crude laughter, the universal language of predators cornering prey. A woman's voice begging, the sound of fist meeting flesh. Maul had heard such sounds across 100 worlds during missions for his master. The strong dominating the weak, the natural order of the Sith. Except, his master was gone, obliterated on Naboo by the Jedi Kenobi, or perhaps that had yet to happen in this fractured timeline. The rift had torn him from known space and time, casting him into this urban nightmare where the dark side pooled like standing water. For the first time in his existence, Darth Maul answered to no one. The woman screamed again. Maul dropped from the rooftop. He fell 4 stories in silence, landing in the alley mouth with knees bent to absorb impact that would have shattered normal human legs. His Zabrak physiology and Force-enhanced body barely registered the strain. The 3 predators froze, turning toward the sound of his arrival. Their eyes widened at the sight of him, tattooed red and black skin, horns protruding from his skull, yellow eyes burning with Sith fire, black robes that seemed to drink the available light. "What the hell?" one started. Maul's lightsaber ignited, both blades. The crimson glow painted the alley in shades of blood and nightmare. The humming plasma cast dancing shadows that made his appearance even more demonic. He said nothing. His master had taught him that fear was a weapon sharper than any blade. And these pathetic criminals had never encountered anything like a Sith Lord. They ran. Maul pursued. The Force guided his movements, predicting their panicked flight patterns. He didn't need full connection to the cosmic force for this. These were not Jedi Knights or battle droids. They were common thugs, slow and clumsy, radiating terror into the dark side like beacons. His lightsaber swept in elegant arcs, each movement precise, economical, lethal. The first criminal fell without his head. The second collapsed with a cauterized hole through his chest. The third made it almost to the alley's end, before Maul's force grip seized his throat, lifting him off his feet. "Please," the man choked, legs kicking uselessly. "Please, I got kids." "Then you should have chosen a different path," Maul said, his voice a gravelly rasp that carried the weight of Sith philosophy. He had heard such pleas before. They all claimed children, families, circumstances that forced their hands into violence. His master had taught him that excuses were the refuge of the weak. The man's neck snapped with a gesture. Maul released the body to crumple beside his companions. Behind him, the woman sobbed. Maul turned slowly, deactivating one blade of his lightsaber, but keeping the other ignited. She pressed against the brick wall, dress torn, face bloodied, eyes locked on the weapon that should not exist in this world. She was young, maybe 20 standard years. Her purse lay spilled across the pavement. Credits, no, dollar bills, scattered like worthless leaves. "You are safe," Maul said. The words felt strange in his mouth. When had he ever reassured prey? She screamed and ran. Maul watched her flee into the Gotham night. Ungrateful, but alive, he extinguished his lightsaber and surveyed the three corpses. Steam rose from cauterized wounds, the smell of burned flesh mixing with Gotham's ambient decay. In the distance, sirens wailed closer. This city had law enforcement, primitive as they might be. He force-leaped to the nearest fire escape and began climbing. By the time the first police cruiser arrived, red and blue lights strobing across the alley, Maul had vanished into Gotham's vertical maze. He settled on a gargoyle-studded rooftop, watching the officers below examine bodies with expressions mixing horror and confusion. "What kind of weapon makes cuts like that?" one officer asked. "Blowtorch, maybe," another suggested. "But that doesn't explain the clean decapitation." Maul tuned out their speculation. He extended his senses into the city, feeling the currents of darkness that flowed through Gotham like underground rivers. The force here was different, angrier, more personal, less cosmic and more intimate. It fed on suffering and fear, and this city provided an endless feast. His connection might be weakened, but Gotham's darkness called to him, offering power if he knew how to take it. Movement caught his eye. On a rooftop 3 blocks away, a silhouette stood against the clouded sky, cape billowing in the wind, pointed ears, watching. Maul's hand moved to his lightsaber hilt. The figure didn't move, didn't approach, simply observed. Then as Maul prepared to leap across the gap between them, it vanished. Not with force speed, Maul would have sensed that, just melted into shadows as though it had never existed. This city had guardians, and Maul had just announced his presence with 3 corpses and an impossible weapon. Good. If you want to see more characters enter different universes, hit that subscribe button and drop the name of a character and the universe you'd want to see them in down in the comments below. Hope shines brightest in the darkest night. Maul settled into a meditative crouch on the gargoyle, rain beginning to fall across Gotham's tortured landscape. He had been cast into an unknown world, stripped of his master and purpose, armed only with his training and his rage. But rage had always been enough. Rage had sustained him when Kenobi bisected him. Rage had fueled his return. And rage would carry him through this city of shadows until he understood his purpose here. Below, the city breathed its corruption. Above, the clouds promised only more darkness. And in the space between, a Sith warrior without a master began to hunt. Gotham had no idea what had just arrived in its streets. Soon the criminals would learn. Soon the city itself would learn. Darth Maul had found a new hunting ground, and unlike the Jedi, unlike whatever guardian wore the cape and cowl, he would not hesitate to deliver the justice these predators deserved. 3 bodies in Crime Alley were just the beginning. The Crimson Shadow had come to Gotham. The Batcave's main computer terminal cast blue light across Bruce Wayne's face as he studied the crime scene photographs. Alfred Pennyworth stood at his shoulder, silver tray in hand, tea growing cold in its cup. Neither man spoke. The images demanded silence. 3 bodies, cauterized wounds, decapitation so clean it could have been surgical, burn patterns that matched no known weapon in Batman's extensive database. "The coroner's report suggests extreme heat," Alfred said finally, his British accent carrying the weight of a man who had seen too much death. Temperatures exceeding 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit, focused like a blade. "Plasma," Bruce said. His cowl lay discarded on the console, revealing the man beneath the symbol. Dark circles under his eyes testified to 72 hours with minimal sleep. Or something similar. The wounds are cauterized instantly. No blood loss, no spatter. The weapon cut through bone like paper. A laser of some kind. Lasers don't hum. Bruce pulled up audio from a nearby security camera. The quality was poor, the camera ancient and half-broken like most technology in Crime Alley. But it had captured something. He enhanced the audio, filtering out rain and distant traffic. A sound emerged, rhythmic, mechanical, almost musical. The hum of something that should not exist. Alfred's expression didn't change, but his posture stiffened slightly. In their years together, that was equivalent to shocked alarm. "That's not any weapon in our files." "No." Bruce opened another window. Witness statements. The woman who survived gave a description that read like a nightmare. Horned demon, red and black skin, yellow eyes, a sword made of red light that hummed and burned. The officers had written it off as trauma-induced hallucination, but Bruce knew better. Gotham created many monsters, but it didn't create ones that violated the laws of physics. "Gordon's keeping it quiet," Bruce said, pulling up an email from the commissioner. "3 dead criminals, no witnesses willing to talk except one traumatized victim claiming demons with laser swords. He's afraid of copycat panic." "Sensible." Alfred finally set down the tray. "Though I suspect our laser sword-wielding demon is quite real." "He is." Bruce pulled up more files. 7 additional deaths over the past 3 nights, all sharing the same signature. Cauterized wounds, extreme precision, criminals exclusively targeted, drug dealers burned alive in their apartments, human traffickers found with holes through their chests, a serial rapist decapitated in his own home. He's hunting, methodically, efficiently. A vigilante? A killer. Bruce's jaw tightened. One who's very good at what he does. The computer chimed. Barbara Gordon's icon appeared. Oracle, working her magic through Gotham's fragmented surveillance network. Text scrolled across the screen. Got something. Rooftop camera, East End. 2 minutes ago. Bruce activated the feed. The footage showed a Gotham rooftop at night, rain creating static across the image. Then a figure dropped into frame, impossible acrobatics, landing in a crouch that suggested enhanced physiology or training beyond human norm. The camera angle captured him in profile. Tattooed red and black skin forming intricate patterns, horns protruding from his skull. Black robes that moved wrong in the wind. He stood at the roof's edge, utterly still, watching the streets below with predator patience. Dear God, Alfred breathed. Bruce was already moving toward the suit. He's real, and he's in the East End. Master Bruce, that man, creature, whatever he is, he's killed 10 people in 3 days. Which is why I need to stop him tonight. Bruce began putting on the cowl, before the body count reaches 20. And if his weapon can cut through bone like paper, what will it do to Kevlar? Bruce paused. Valid question. The suit had saved him from bullets, blades, even Mr. Freeze's cold gun, but plasma hot enough to instantly cauterize flesh? I'll stay out of range. How reassuring. Alfred's dry tone suggested it was anything but. Batman activated the Batmobile's remote start. Contact Dick. Tell him to stay in Bloodhaven tonight. If this goes wrong, Gotham will need Nightwing. And if it goes right, Batman pulled on his gauntlets. Then we'll have a horned killer in Arkham by sunrise. He headed toward the vehicle platform. And I'll finally get some answers about what he is and where he came from. Across the city, Darth Maul crouched on the rooftop's edge, watching a warehouse 3 stories below. His force senses, adapting slowly to Gotham's peculiar darkness, had led him here. Inside that warehouse, suffering resonated like a bell. Fear, pain, desperation, young fear, child fear, human trafficking. Even in this alien city, some evils remained universal. Maul counted guards through the warehouse's grimy windows. 7 visible, likely more inside. Armed with primitive projectile weapons, firearms, his HUD implants would have called them if he still had HUD implants. His master had removed such technological dependencies, forcing him to rely on the Force in his own senses. Now, in this diminished connection to the dark side, Maul felt the absence keenly, but he didn't need full Force power to deal with slavers. He dropped from the roof. The first guard died before his cigarette hit the ground. Maul's lightsaber took his head, the body crumpling silently against the warehouse's external wall. The second guard turned at the sound of plasma igniting and managed one strangled gasp before the crimson blade pierced his heart. Maul retrieved the weapon with a twist, letting the corpse fall. "Jenkins, that you?" A voice from around the corner, footsteps approaching. Maul extinguished his blade and pressed against the wall. The third guard rounded the corner, flashlight sweeping the darkness. Maul's hand shot out, fingers closing on the man's throat. He lifted him off the ground with one arm, Zabrak's strength combined with Force enhancement, and watched the guard's eyes bulge as oxygen deprivation set in. "How many children inside?" Maul's voice was a whisper that carried more menace than any scream. The guard clawed at Maul's wrist, feet kicking uselessly. 20, maybe. Can't breathe. How many guards?" 10 total. Please." Maul snapped his neck and let him drop. 10 guards, 20 children. Unacceptable ratio. He would have to be efficient. He force-pushed the warehouse's side door off its hinges. The metal panel flew inward, crushing a fourth guard against the opposite wall. Maul strode through the opening, double-bladed lightsaber igniting in full glory. The warehouse interior stretched before him, rows of shipping containers, some modified into cages, small faces pressed against bars, eyes wide with terror that transformed to confused hope at the sight of their tattooed rescuer. "Contact!" A guard opened fire. Maul's lightsaber became a crimson blur. Bullets vaporized against the plasma blades, each shot deflected with casual precision. His master had trained him to face multiple opponents simultaneously, to use the Force to predict trajectories, to turn defense into offense. These guards had never faced anything like him. He closed the distance in 3 Force-enhanced strides. The lightsaber carved through the guard's rifle, then through the guard. Another attacker came from the left. Maul spun, the second blade catching him mid-charge. 2 more guards emerged from behind a shipping container, firing in coordinated bursts. Maul extended his left hand. Force lightning crackled from his fingertips, weaker than it should be, the power struggling against Gotham's strange magical resistance, but sufficient. Blue-white energy arced across the warehouse, catching both guards. They convulsed and fell, smoke rising from their charred uniforms. "What the hell is that thing?" someone screamed. "Shoot it! Just shoot it!" Maul allowed himself the faintest smile. Fear was a weapon, and these men drowned in it. He advanced methodically, lightsaber weaving patterns of death. A guard tried to use a child as a shield. Maul Force pulled the man forward, impaling him on the crimson blade before he could harm his hostage. Another attempted to flee through the rear exit. Maul's thrown lightsaber bisected him, the weapon spinning back to its master's hand with a force pull. The last guard dropped his weapon and raised his hands. "I surrender! I surrender!" Maul approached slowly, lightsaber humming between them. The man trembled, urine darkening his pants. Around them, children watched from their cages, silent witnesses to a demon delivering violent salvation. "You trade in suffering," Maul said. "You profit from the pain of the helpless." "I was just following orders." "The boss?" "Your boss." Maul tilted his horned head. "Where?" "Office, upstairs. Please, I got..." "Children, a family, circumstances." Maul's lightsaber swept horizontally. "Everyone has an excuse." The guard fell in 2 pieces. Maul turned toward the cages. 20 young faces stared back, human children mostly, though 2 appeared to be different species. Green skin, pointed ears. This world had aliens too then, or perhaps metahumans, as his limited exploration of this city's electronic networks had suggested. He approached the nearest cage and sliced through the lock. The door swung open. The The children inside, 3 girls, maybe 12 years old, pressed against the back wall. "You are free," Maul said. They didn't move. Maul understood. He was a monster saving them from other monsters. The distinction was lost on traumatized minds. He opened the remaining cages with similar efficiency, cutting through locks with surgical precision. The children emerged slowly, clustering together for safety, none daring to approach their liberator. "The guards are dead," Maul continued. "Leave this place. Find authorities you trust." He paused. "If such authorities exist in this city." What are you?" The oldest child, a boy maybe 14, found his voice. Maul considered the question. Who was he? Darth Maul, apprentice to Darth Sidious? But his master was gone, lost across dimensional barriers. A Sith Lord? But the Sith served a philosophy of power through domination. And what was this, if not charity? "I am..." The words felt foreign. "Someone who hunts monsters." A slow clap echoed through the warehouse. Maul spun, lightsaber raised. On a catwalk near the ceiling, a figure stood, armored in gray and black, cape spreading like bat wings, white eye lenses glowing from a cowled face. The Batman, Gotham's guardian, the shadow he had glimpsed nights ago. "Impressive," Batman said, his voice electronically distorted through the cowl's modulator. 10 guards eliminated in under 2 minutes. Excellent form. Precise strikes, minimal collateral damage. He began walking along the catwalk, each step measured. "You've had training, military grade or better." Maul said nothing, tracking the figure's movement. His force senses brushed against something unusual. This Batman read as human, definitely human, but carried himself with a presence that suggested otherwise. No fear, no panic, just cold calculation. "You've killed 13 people in 3 days," Batman continued. "All criminals, I'll grant you. Murderers, rapists, traffickers. Gotham's worst." He stopped directly above Maul. "But you killed them. They deserved death." Maul's voice carried Sith certainty. "Maybe," Batman's cape billowed. "That's not for you to decide." "Then who decides?" Maul gestured with his lightsaber at the cages, the bodies. "Your justice system that allows such things to exist? Your police who arrive too late? Your laws that protect predators? Our laws protect everyone. Even the guilty deserve trial." "Weakness," Maul's eyes narrowed. "You have power. I see it in how you move, how you command fear. Yet you restrain yourself. Why?" "Because the moment I crossed that line," Batman said, and something in his voice suggested he stood very close to that line, "I become what I fight." Philosophical nonsense. Maul deactivated one blade of his lightsaber, but kept the other ignited, ready. Power must be used or it is meaningless. Justice without strength is empty. Mercy without judgment is suicide. And judgment without mercy is tyranny. Batman produced something from his belt, a small batarang. "I'm taking you in. You'll get a trial. If you resist, I'll make this harder than it needs to be." Maul laughed. The sound echoed through the warehouse, bitter and harsh. "You, take me? I am Darth Maul, trained by the greatest warrior this galaxy has ever known. I have fought Jedi Masters and survived. I have conquered through rage what others could not achieve with armies." His lightsaber hummed between them. "And you think a costume and a throwing star will stop me?" Batman's expression didn't change behind the mask. "Let's find out." He dropped from the catwalk. Maul's blade swept upward, but Batman wasn't there. The caped figure twisted mid-fall, throwing something. Smoke exploded across Maul's vision. He slashed through the cloud, lightsaber creating vortexes in the artificial fog, but his prey had vanished. A batarang struck his shoulder from behind. Maul spun, but Batman was already moving, cape obscuring his exact position. Another projectile. Maul deflected it with the Force, sending it spinning into a shipping container. He extended his senses, trying to locate his opponent through the smoke and shadows. There, behind the leftmost container. Maul Force leaped over the obstacle, lightsaber raised for a killing strike. Batman rolled aside, the crimson blade missing by inches and cutting through steel like parchment. Before Maul could recover, Something wrapped around his lightsaber hand, a cable pulling tight, yanking the weapon aside. "Impressive weapon," Batman said, emerging from smoke with hands raised in a combat stance. "But in close quarters, against someone who knows what he's doing..." Maul force pushed him through a wall. Batman crashed through wood and drywall, disappearing into the warehouse office section. Maul severed the cable with his lightsaber and advanced, fury building. This human dared challenge a Sith Lord? This primitive vigilante thought himself equal to someone trained by Darth Sidious himself? He would learn. Maul entered the office section, every sense alert. The space was dark, cluttered with filing cabinets and desks. Perfect ambush terrain. Batman was trying to level the playing field, remove Maul's advantages of superior reflexes and precognition. Clever, but insufficient. "You fight well for a human," Maul called into the darkness. "Better than expected, but you have already lost. You restrain yourself, I do not. You hesitate to kill, I embrace it. You are bound by rules, I am bound by nothing." Silence answered. Then Batman's voice emerged from multiple directions simultaneously, speakers hidden throughout the space. "You're right. I don't kill, but I don't have to." Something beeped. "I just have to hold you here for 30 seconds. Maul's danger sense flared. He spun toward the warehouse entrance. Police vehicles screeching to a halt outside. Dozens of them, sirens cutting through the night. Floodlights blazed through windows. A megaphone voice. "This is the GCPD. The building is surrounded. Come out with your hands up." Batman had called them, coordinated the timing perfectly. Maul snarled, a sound of pure Sith rage. Cornered, trapped, by a human in a costume and a police force armed with primitive projectile weapons. Unacceptable. He force leaped toward the ceiling, lightsaber cutting through metal, creating an exit. Rain poured through the opening as Maul hauled himself onto the warehouse roof. Below, police swarmed the building. Helicopters thundered overhead, spotlights swinging across the rooftop. He was exposed, surrounded, outmaneuvered. Batman appeared at the roof's edge, cape spreading behind him like judgment incarnate. "Last chance, surrender." Maul looked at him. This human who fought without killing, who commanded resources and loyalty, who protected a city drowning in corruption without becoming corrupted himself. Fascinating, infuriating, worthy. "We will meet again," Maul said, "and next time, I will not hold back." He force leaped into the night, disappearing across Gotham's rooftops as police bullets whined past. Batman didn't pursue. He simply watched the horned figure vanish into the urban maze, considering the encounter. Alfred's voice crackled through his comm. "Sir, are you injured?" "No." Batman touched his ribs where the force push had hit. Definitely bruised, possibly cracked. "But he could have killed me, twice." "That's rather concerning." He chose not to. Batman turned toward the warehouse entrance. Emergency services were arriving, medical personnel rushing toward the free children. He's killing criminals, yes, but he saved those children, risked exposure to free them. A killer with a conscience, or something more complicated. Batman grappled back toward the Batmobile. "Run facial recognition on him, check Argus databases, international intelligence networks, everything. I need to know what he is. Master Bruce, his appearance suggests he's not exactly human." "I know." Batman settled into the driver's seat, which means we're dealing with either an alien, a metahuman, or something from another dimension entirely. Find out which. And if you can't identify him, Batman gunned the engine. Gotham's night swallowing him whole. Then I keep hunting, because whatever he is, wherever he came from, he's operating in my city. And in Gotham, everyone answers to the Bat. 3 blocks away, crouched on a gargoyle, Darth Maul watched the Batmobile vanish into Gotham's arteries. His hand rested on his lightsaber hilt, rain streaming down his tattooed face. The Batman was dangerous, more dangerous than Maul had anticipated. Trained, resourceful, unwilling to kill, but willing to win through other means. Gotham's guardian. A symbol of hope in endless darkness. Everything a Sith should destroy. And yet, Maul had been born into darkness, trained in hatred, forged through pain. But he had never been given a choice. His master had shaped him like one shapes a weapon, with purpose but without asking permission. Here in this alien city, cast away from everything he knew, Maul found himself questioning for the first time. Was he a Sith Lord, or simply a warrior with nowhere left to go? The rain fell harder. Below, Gotham breathed its familiar corruption, and high above, a horned figure struggled with the most dangerous question in the galaxy. Who am I without my master? Jason Todd cleaned his guns in a safe house that smelled of gun oil and old regret. The television played Gotham news with the volume low, background noise to fill the silence that sometimes threatened to swallow him whole. He'd stopped listening to the actual content years ago. Same stories, different bodies. Gotham never changed, until tonight. Bizarre murders continue to plague Gotham's criminal underworld, the anchor said. Jason's hands stilled on the Glock he was field stripping. 17 confirmed deaths in 5 days, all sharing a signature pattern of extreme heat trauma. Police Commissioner James Gordon declined to comment on reports of a demon vigilante allegedly responsible. Jason turned up the volume. The screen showed crime scene footage, warehouses, drug dens, human trafficking operations, all hit with surgical precision, all perpetrators dead. No innocents harmed, no collateral damage. Just criminals removed from the equation with brutal efficiency. Witnesses described the suspect as approximately 6 feet tall, heavily tattooed, possibly wearing a costume with facial prosthetics including horns. He is considered armed and extremely dangerous. The weapon used appears to be some form of advanced energy blade. Jason rewound the segment, played it again. Energy blade, cauterized wounds, targeting exclusively criminals. No civilian casualties. Someone new was hunting in Gotham. Someone who killed without hesitation or apology. Jason smiled without humor. Welcome to the club. He pulled on his Red Hood helmet and leather jacket, checking his ammunition. If Batman was hunting this new player, and Bruce was definitely hunting him, then Jason needed to find him first. Because anyone willing to put bullets or energy blades, apparently, into human traffickers and rapists deserved a conversation before the Bat locked them in Arkham. Jason had died for Gotham's sins, had come back wrong, angry, willing to do what Bruce never would. For years, he'd operated in the moral gray zone, between Batman's rigid code and the Joker's absolute chaos. He killed when necessary, protected Crime Alley, delivered the justice that Gotham's legal system couldn't or wouldn't provide. And now someone else had arrived with the same philosophy. Jason wanted to meet them. He took the rooftop route toward Crime Alley, moving through Gotham's vertical landscape with practiced ease. The city spread below him, neon bleeding into rain, distant sirens, the eternal soundtrack of urban decay. Somewhere in this maze of stone and shadow, a horned warrior hunted the hunters. Jason intended to find him. Darth Maul meditated on a rooftop overlooking the Narrows, rain streaming down his horns. His lightsaber lay disassembled before him, kyber crystal glowing faintly, emitter matrix exposed, power cell components arranged in precise order. The weapon required no maintenance, but the ritual of disassembly and reassembly focused his mind. His master had taught him that a warrior's weapon was an extension of self, and neglect of one meant neglect of the other. 3 nights since his confrontation with the Batman. 3 nights of hunting, killing, adapting to Gotham's unique darkness. The Force connection grew stronger with each passing hour, as if the city's ambient suffering provided fuel for his power. He could feel the currents of fear and rage that flowed through these streets like underground rivers. Could sense the predators stalking their prey. Could identify targets with increasing precision. But the Batman haunted his thoughts. Maul had fought Jedi, Qui-Gon Jinn, and his apprentice Kenobi on Naboo. They had been formidable, trained in the light side of the Force, wielding lightsabers with generations of technique behind each strike. He had killed the master and nearly killed the apprentice. Victory through superior rage and combat skill. The Batman possessed none of that. No Force sensitivity, no energy blade, no supernatural powers at all as far as Maul could determine. Just training, resources, and absolute conviction. Yet he had maneuvered Maul into a tactical disadvantage, called reinforcements, forced a retreat. He had fought a Sith Lord and survived. Impressive, troubling, worthy of respect. Maul reassembled his lightsaber with practiced efficiency, each component sliding into place with satisfying precision. The weapon hummed to life briefly, both blades igniting, crimson light cutting through rain, then extinguished. He holstered it and stood, extending his senses across the Narrows. Suffering. So much suffering. Women selling themselves to survive. Children going hungry while their parents drowned in narcotics. The elderly locked in apartments, too afraid to venture into streets controlled by gangs. Gotham was a wound that never healed, constantly infected with fresh evil. His master would have said such suffering was natural. The weak existed to be dominated by the strong. That was the way of the Sith, the way of the universe itself. Power flowed to those willing to seize it, and those who couldn't protect themselves deserved whatever fate found them. But Maul had no master now, no one to dictate philosophy or purpose. For the first time in his existence, he chose his own path. And his path led to a drug house 2 blocks south, where young addicts were being systematically exploited by dealers who cut their product with poison. Maul dropped from the rooftop. He hit street level and strode toward the building, a condemned brownstone that should have been empty but glowed with chemical lights in the windows. Music thudded from inside, bass that rattled broken glass. Guards posted at the entrance, armed with automatic weapons that they held with the casual familiarity of career criminals. They saw him approaching and raised their guns. "Wrong neighborhood, freak show. Turn around." Maul kept walking. "I said turn." The guard's voice died as he got his first clear look at Maul's face. The horns, the tattoos, the yellow eyes that reflected streetlight like an animal's. "Jesus Christ, what are you?" "You're ending," Maul said. His lightsaber ignited mid-draw, both blades burning crimson in Gotham's perpetual rain. The guards opened fire. Bullets vaporized against plasma, deflected into brick walls and pavement. Maul closed the distance in 3 strides, his weapon a blur of lethal precision. Both guards fell before their magazines emptied. Maul kicked in the door. The drug house interior was exactly what he expected. Mattresses on floors, makeshift chemical lab in the kitchen, desperate people in various states of consciousness scattered throughout. A dozen eyes turned toward him, reactions ranging from drugged indifference to dawning horror. In the back room, through a doorway, Maul sensed the ones responsible. 4 life forces radiating the particular flavor of predatory satisfaction that all slavers shared. He advanced through the building. A few addicts scrambled away, seeking exits. Maul ignored them. His master had taught him to identify primary threats, eliminate command structure, let lesser elements scatter. These people were victims of circumstance. The men in the back room were the disease. "Who the hell?" A dealer emerged from the kitchen, machete in hand. Maul's force push sent him through the wall. Another appeared with a shotgun. The lightsaber bisected both weapon and wielder. A third tried to flee through a window. Maul's thrown blade caught him mid-escape, the lightsaber returning to its master's hand with a force pull. The last dealer stood in what had once been a bedroom, now converted to office space. Money-counting machines, scales, plastic-wrapped bricks of narcotics. A young woman, maybe 19, cowered in the corner, face bruised, wrists zip-tied. The dealer held a pistol to her head. "Back off, demon!" His voice cracked with terror. "I'll kill her!" Maul stopped in the doorway, lightsaber humming. He extended his force senses toward the hostage. Pain, fear, resignation. She expected to die here, had accepted it. The dealer radiated panic masquerading as bravado, finger tight on the trigger. Standard hostage scenario. His master's training covered this. Ignore the threat, eliminate the target, acceptable losses in pursuit of greater victory. The woman was already dead by any statistical analysis. Attempting rescue would create tactical disadvantage, but his master was gone. "Release her," Maul said quietly. "Yeah? Or what? You'll kill me." The dealer laughed, the sound hysterical. "You're already gonna kill me. At least this way I take someone with me? Maul tilted his head, considering. His master would have found this situation amusing. A criminal trying to leverage morality against a Sith. Darth Sidious would have taken the shot, killed them both, moved to the next target. Emotion was weakness. Attachment was poison. Power respected only power. Maul's hand rose slowly, not reaching for his lightsaber, just rising. Palm forward, fingers spread. The Force flowed through him, adapting to Gotham's strange magical substrate, pulling power from the city's ambient darkness. The dealer's grip on the pistol loosened, his eyes glazed. The weapon fell from nerveless fingers, clattering on the floor. He stood frozen, a puppet with cut strings, consciousness suspended by Maul's Force domination. The woman stared, not understanding what had just happened, but recognizing salvation when it appeared. Maul gestured. The dealer's neck snapped. He released the Force hold, and the body crumpled. Maul approached the woman, drawing a vibroblade from his belt, not his lightsaber, something less intimidating. He cut through the zip ties with a quick motion. She flinched away from him, pressing against the wall. "You are free," Maul said. The words came easier now after a dozen similar situations. "Leave this place." "Who?" She swallowed. "What are you?" Maul sheathed the vibroblade. "Someone cleaning Gotham's streets." "Are you with Batman?" The question surprised him. "No, I am..." What was he? "Independent. Thank you." She sobbed the words, disbelief and relief tangled together. "Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Do not thank me. Just survive." Maul turned away. "And choose better paths." He left her there, moving back through the drug house. The addicts had all fled during the confrontation. Good. The police would arrive soon, drawn by gunfire and screams. Let them find the bodies. Let Gotham's criminal underworld spread the word. Something new hunted in these streets. Something that showed no mercy to predators, but left their prey alive. A symbol, like the Batman, but forged in darker fire. Maul exited the building and found someone waiting. Red Hood stood in the street, hands on his hips. Two .45 caliber pistols holstered at his sides. The helmet, militaristic, covering his entire head, eyes glowing white behind the faceplate, tracked Maul's every movement. He wore leather jacket over body armor, the whole ensemble designed for function over aesthetics. "Hell of a show," Red Hood said. His voice was electronically modulated, though less theatrically than the Batman's. "I heard the screaming, figured I'd check it out. Imagine my surprise when I find Gotham's newest urban legend cleaning house." Maul's hand moved to his lightsaber. "You intend to stop me?" "Stop you?" Red Hood laughed. "Brother, I want to buy you a beer." Maul paused. That was not the response he'd anticipated. Red Hood gestured at the building behind Maul. 4 dealers dead, 1 hostage saved, no collateral damage. Clean work. Professional. Reminds me of my own approach. He tapped one of his pistols. Though I favor lead over lasers, more traditional. "You kill criminals," Maul said slowly, processing this new dynamic. "When they deserve it." Red Hood shrugged. "Rapists, child traffickers, serial killers, the ones who'll never change, never stop, never do anything but cause pain. Yeah, I kill them. Batman hates it. I keep doing it anyway." He tilted his head. "You're new to Gotham. Haven't figured out the player dynamics yet? Let me give you the quick version." Maul said nothing, waiting. "Batman, guy in the gray cowl you probably already met. He's the big symbol. No killing, ever. Not even the Joker. He's got a family of sidekicks who mostly follow his rules. Robin, Batgirl, the whole crew. They're good people. Naive as hell, but good." Red Hood's posture shifted. Subtle aggression bleeding through. "Then there's me. I used to be Robin. Died for it. Came back wrong. Decided Batman's way wasn't the only way." "You were his apprentice," Maul said. Understanding clicked into place. "He trained you, and you rejected his teaching." "Exactly," Red Hood pointed at him. "See, you get it. He taught me to fight, taught me to be a symbol, but he couldn't teach me to be weak. So I took his lessons and made them better. Added bullets." He paused. You're doing the same thing, aren't you? Someone trained you, taught you to be a weapon, but now you're here, alone, making your own rules. Maul considered this. Was that accurate? Had he rejected Darth Sidious's teachings? Or was he simply adapting them to new circumstances? My master's gone, Maul said carefully. I find my own purpose now. Good for you. Red Hood walked closer, unafraid despite having witnessed Maul's capabilities. Here's the thing. Gotham needs people willing to cross the line. Batman won't. I've been doing it for years. You just got here, already making waves. We could help each other. Help how? Intelligence sharing. I know which criminals deserve killing and which ones can be redeemed. You've got skills I don't. That force thing you did with the dealer? That's new, useful. Red Hood stopped a few feet away. Plus, Batman's going to come after you hard. He's probably got a file on you already, analyzing your fighting style, developing countermeasures. Having someone who knows his tactics might keep you out of Arkham. Maul studied the masked vigilante. Red Hood radiated pragmatism, not idealism. He had died and returned. Maul sensed the echo of that trauma in his force presence, a darkness similar to Maul's own resurrection through pure hatred. This was a kindred spirit, a warrior who understood that power meant nothing without the will to use it, but alliance also meant vulnerability. Trust was a weapon enemies could exploit. Why help me? Maul asked. What do you gain? Honestly? Red Hood's helmet tilted. I'm tired of being the only one willing to do what's necessary. Every time I put a bullet in a rapist, Batman lectures me about the line. Every time I save someone by killing their abuser, he acts like I'm becoming the Joker. He gestured at the drug house. You just saved that girl. Batman would have arrested the dealer, put him in the system, watched him plea bargain down to 5 years. Then he'd be right back here, creating more victims. Your Batman is a fool, Maul said. No. Red Hood's voice carried surprising conviction. He's the best man I've ever known. But he's wrong about this one thing. Noted. They exited the building at a run, racing across Gotham's rooftops toward the abandoned amusement park. The countdown timer ticked away on the stolen phone. 15:27, 15:26, 15:25. Behind them in locations across the city, other players moved into position. Batman prepared in the Batcave, reviewing schematics of the amusement park, identifying tactical advantages. The Joker watched through hidden cameras, giggling at the game pieces moving exactly as predicted. And somewhere in the darkness, other forces took notice of Gotham's newest conflict. The city held its breath, waiting to see whether the horned warrior would prove to be hero, victim, or monster. Maul ran through rain-slicked streets, force-enhanced speed carrying him toward confrontation with Gotham's darkest nightmare. His master had taught him that emotions were tools to be wielded. Fear became power, anger became strength, hatred became purpose. But what did compassion become? What power came from choosing to save one life even when tactical logic suggested retreat? He would discover the answer in approximately 14 minutes, assuming they all survived that long. The abandoned amusement park rose from Gotham's outskirts like a monument to childhood dreams turned nightmare. Rusted roller coaster tracks clawed at storm clouds. A Ferris wheel missing half its carriages creaked in the wind. Carnival booths with peeling paint advertised games that would never again be played. And in the center, dominating the decayed landscape, stood a funhouse whose warped mirrors reflected nothing but darkness. Darth, Maul, and Red Hood arrived with 4 minutes on the timer. They crouched on a neighboring rooftop, surveying the park below. Floodlights had been erected, clearly recent additions, illuminating specific paths through the decay. A trail of lights leading from the entrance directly to the funhouse. Inviting, obvious, screaming trap to anyone with tactical awareness. He wants us to follow the lights, Red Hood said, scanning through binoculars. Which means the real trap is probably anywhere but the lights. Or the trap is the lights themselves, Maul countered. Explosives triggered by motion sensors. Snipers positioned to target illuminated paths. Or the lights are fine, and he's counting on us avoiding them, wasting time searching for traps that don't exist while the timer runs out. Red Hood lowered the binoculars. This is what the Joker does. Layers. Every obvious trap hides 3 subtle ones. Every subtle trap is actually a distraction from the obvious one. Maul extended his force senses across the park. Life signatures scattered throughout, at least a dozen, hiding in carnival booths and behind broken rides. Armed, waiting, and in the funhouse center, 2 signatures. One unconscious, one wrong, twisted, radiating chaotic energy that made Maul's danger sense scream. "The woman is in the funhouse," Maul said. "Alive, barely conscious, and the Joker is with her. Actually with her, not another hologram. His presence feels..." Maul struggled for words. The Joker's force signature was unlike anything he'd encountered. Not dark side, not light side, but something outside that binary. Chaos given form. Entropy with a smile. Real, but wrong. That tracks. Joker's definitely real and definitely wrong. Red Hood checked his weapons one final time. "Batman?" Maul expanded his senses. "Not yet, but approaching. Perhaps 2 minutes away. Then we've got a narrow window." Red Hood stood. "We go in fast, grab the woman, get out before Bruce arrives. Avoid engaging the Joker if possible." "Why avoid him?" Maul's hand moved to his lightsaber. "He creates suffering. He killed you. He deserves death." "He absolutely deserves death. But killing him triggers Batman's contingencies against us." Red Hood's voice carried frustration. "If you kill the Joker, Bruce will hunt us with everything he has. No more 48-hour grace period. No more philosophical debates. Just total war." "Then let there be war." Maul began moving toward the park entrance. "I will not let that creature continue to breathe while innocents suffer." "Maul, wait!" But Maul had already force leaped from the rooftop, landing inside the park perimeter with barely a sound. His boots hit cracked pavement, lightsaber igniting in both hands. Crimson blades cast dancing shadows across carnival detritus. The ambush came immediately. Gunfire erupted from 3 positions: carnival booth, collapsed carousel, behind the funhouse entrance. Maul's lightsaber became a blur, deflecting bullets with precision born from years of Jedi combat. The rounds ricocheted, some striking their shooters through pure chance. He force-pushed toward the carousel, sending 2 attackers flying through rotted wooden horses. Red Hood landed beside him, pistols thundering. So much for subtle. Subtle is for those who fear direct confrontation. Maul charged the funhouse entrance, cutting through 2 more attackers who emerged with automatic weapons. His blade carved through gun barrels, then through the fools holding them. Bodies fell smoking. They reached the funhouse entrance. Garish clown mouth frozen in a silent scream. Darkness beyond. The countdown timer on the stolen phone read 2:47, 2:46, 2:45. "Ladies first," the Joker's voice echoed from hidden speakers. "Or in this case, demons first. Come on in. The fun is just beginning." Maul entered without hesitation. Red Hood followed, cursing quietly. The funhouse interior was exactly what its exterior promised. Nightmare logic given form. Mirrors created infinite reflections, each showing slightly different versions of reality. The floor tilted at odd angles. Walls moved, rotating slowly to reveal new passages or seal old ones. And everywhere, that manic laughter echoing from speakers hidden in the shadows. "Tell me," the Joker's voice continued, "what's the difference between a hero and a killer? The heroes save people, but you kill to save people. So what does that make you? Killerous? Heroic? A delightful paradox?" Maul ignored the commentary, following his forced senses toward the woman's life signature, deeper into the funhouse, through a corridor of mirrors that showed him with different tattoo patterns, different horns, different expressions ranging from serene to demonic. Red Hood moved beside him, pistols raised. He's stalling, talking while we walk into whatever he's planned. Then we move faster. Maul force pushed through a rotating wall, creating a shortcut. They emerged in a larger chamber, what had once been the funhouse's central room. And there, suspended from the ceiling by chains wrapped in Christmas lights, was the woman. She hung unconscious, covered in bruises, and wrapped around her torso, clearly visible, was enough dynamite to vaporize the entire structure. Beautiful, isn't it? The Joker emerged from behind a mirror. He looked exactly as his hologram had. Purple suit, green hair, smile that suggested cruelty and madness in equal measure. I call it performance art. The woman represents innocence. The chains represent society's constraints. The dynamite represents the inevitable entropy that awaits us all. Deep, right? Maul's lightsaber hummed between them. Release her. Or what? You'll kill me. The Joker giggled. That's adorable. Everyone wants to kill me. Batman wants to, but won't. Red Hood wants to and can't. Well, he could, but Batsy would get mad. And you? What's stopping you, demon? Morality? Fear? Chronic indecision? Nothing stops me. Maul advanced. Then do it! The Joker spread his arms wide. Strike me down. Be the warrior you claim to be. Prove that you're willing to do what Batman never could. Red Hood grabbed Maul's shoulder. It's a trap. The moment you touch him, something triggers. Very good, Red, the Joker applauded. You're learning. Yes, I'm wired with pressure sensors. Kill me, and the bombs detonate immediately. Don't kill me, and they detonate in... He checked a watch. 1 minute, 37 seconds. Quite the pickle. Maul's mind raced through options. Cut the chains. Too many wrapped in Christmas lights that might be wired. Force pull the woman. Might trigger the pressure sensors. Kill the Joker. Definitely triggers the bombs. Defuse the dynamite. Insufficient time and expertise. Every choice led to death. I can see you thinking, the Joker said. It's fascinating, watching someone smart realize they've lost. That moment when hope dies and acceptance begins. That's my favorite part of the joke. There's always a solution, Red Hood said, more to himself than anyone. Joker's insane, but not suicidal. He wouldn't blow himself up just to kill us. Wouldn't I? The Joker's smile widened. What if dying in the explosion that also kills a demon and a dead Robin is the ultimate punchline? What if I've been building to this moment my entire career? What if the ceiling exploded? Batman crashed through the roof, cape spreading like wings of judgment, grappling line suspending him above the chaos. He threw 3 batarangs simultaneously. One severed the chains holding the woman, one struck the Joker in the chest, one detonated with an electromagnetic pulse that shorted out the Christmas lights. The woman fell. Maul force caught her, lowering her gently to the tilted floor. The Joker stumbled backward, the batarang stuck in his suit's ballistic padding, surprised but unhurt. And Batman landed between them all, smoke and debris creating a dramatic entrance worthy of the symbol. Batsy, the Joker exclaimed, fashionably late as always. I was just explaining to our guests. Shut up. Batman's voice carried lethal calm. He turned to Maul and Red Hood. Get her out, now. But we were having such fun. The Joker reached into his jacket. Batman's hand moved in a blur, disarming him before the Joker even touched whatever weapon he'd been reaching for. Oh, you're in rare form tonight. Someone's been practicing. Jason, Batman said, still facing the Joker. Take the woman to safety. The bombs are real, but I've already disabled the remote detonators. Red Hood checked the woman's pulse. She's alive. Drugged, but alive. He looked at Maul. Come on. No. Maul's eyes fixed on the Joker. This creature creates only suffering. He killed you, terrorizes this city, and Batman refuses to end him. I will not make that mistake. Maul? Red Hood started. Oh, I like this one. The Joker clapped, despite Batman's restraining grip on his wrists. He's got that beautiful combination of righteous fury and complete moral certainty. Very refreshing compared to your usual angst-ridden sidekicks. Bats. Batman's jaw tightened. Stand down, both of you. The woman is safe. Mission accomplished. Mission accomplished? Maul's voice rose, Sith rage bleeding through carefully maintained control. This monster remains alive to create more victims. That is not mission accomplished. That is failure disguised as victory. He's right, you know, the Joker said conversationally. I will absolutely do this again. Probably next week. Maybe kidnap a busload of orphans next time. Really up the stakes. It's what I do. Shut up, Batman's voice dropped to dangerous levels. Make me, the Joker giggled. Oh wait, you can't, because killing me would prove I'm right about you. That one bad day, one dead Robin, one lost loved one, is all it takes to push anyone over the edge. You're so desperate to prove I'm wrong that you keep me alive even though it costs lives. Maul's lightsaber hummed louder, blade reflecting in the funhouse mirrors. Batman, step aside. No, he deserves death. Maybe. Batman turned slowly, positioning himself between Maul and the Joker. But that's not your decision to make. Not in my city. Your city is drowning because of your weakness. Maul's yellow eyes blazed. How many has he killed? Hundreds? Thousands? Every death is on your hands for refusing to end this. Every death is on his hands. Batman pointed at the Joker without looking. I don't kill him for the same reason I don't kill anyone. Because the moment I do, I become him. Philosophical nonsense. No. Red Hood's voice cut through, surprising them all. He's right. Maul turned to his ally. You told me he was wrong, that killing was necessary. I told you killing monsters was necessary. Red Hood gestured at the unconscious woman. But the Joker isn't a monster. He's a test of whether we can stay human while doing inhuman work. Pretty sure I'm a monster, the Joker offered helpfully. Shut up, clown. Red Hood's helmeted gaze stayed on Maul. I kill because I have to. Drug dealers who'll never stop. Serial killers who can't be redeemed. But the Joker? He's different. He's the line Bruce won't cross and never will. And if I cross it, he paused. I become the thing that killed me. I become someone who kills for personal reasons instead of protection. He killed you! Maul couldn't comprehend this logic. Personal reasons are the most valid. That's what the Sith would say, isn't it? Red Hood's voice was gentle. That personal revenge is justified. That power means taking what you want. That the strong rule and the weak suffer. Maul faltered. Those were indeed Sith teachings. His master's philosophy distilled to its essence. But you're not Sith anymore, Red Hood continued. You said it yourself. So maybe it's time to prove it. Maybe showing mercy to someone who doesn't deserve it is what separates us from what we hunt. The countdown timer beeped. 047, 046, 045. Ooh, tension, the Joker said. Will the demon embrace his darkness? Will he kill me and prove Batman right about slippery slopes? Will... Batman's fist struck the Joker's jaw, silencing him instantly. The clown crumpled, unconscious before hitting the floor. Batman zip-tied his wrist with practiced efficiency. The bombs, Maul said quietly. Disabled. Batman produced a device from his belt, electromagnetic disruptor. I scanned the building during entry. Remote detonators, pressure sensors, even a heartbeat monitor, all deactivated. He looked at Maul. There was never any real danger, just psychological manipulation designed to make you kill him. Maul stared at the unconscious Joker. All of this, the kidnapping, the timer, the elaborate trap, designed not to kill, but to corrupt. To turn Maul into the monster he'd been fleeing since arriving in Gotham. He wanted me to kill him, Maul said slowly. He wants everyone to kill him, especially me. Batman hoisted the Joker over his shoulder. Because if I do, he wins. If I become a killer, then his philosophy, that anyone can be broken, that morality is just one bad day away from collapsing, is proven correct. So you carry him to Arkham, where he will escape and kill again. Yes, and you live with that choice. Every day. Batman's voice carried the weight of years. Every victim he creates afterward, I remember. I count. I bear that burden so Gotham doesn't have to bear a Batman who kills. Maul extinguished his lightsaber. His master would have called this weakness, sentimentality, failure to seize power when presented. But standing in the ruined funhouse, surrounded by mirrors reflecting infinite versions of himself, Maul began to understand. Batman's strength wasn't physical. It was maintaining humanity while operating in darkness, refusing to become the monsters he fought even when doing so would be easier, more efficient, more immediately satisfying. That required more discipline than any Sith training Maul had endured. I could have killed him, Maul admitted, Could have ignored you both and ended his existence. I know, Batman said. Why didn't you stop me? You have contingencies, weapons designed to counter my abilities. Because I needed to see if you choose to stop yourself. Batman started toward the exit. Jason vouched for you. Said you were trying to be better than your training. I needed to see if that was true. Red Hood picked up the unconscious woman, cradling her carefully. Was it? True, I mean. Maul looked at his hands, tattooed red and black, trained to kill since childhood. Weapons that had ended countless lives across 2 galaxies. They trembled slightly, not from fear but from the effort of restraint. I don't know, Maul said honestly, but I am trying. That's enough. Batman paused at the funhouse entrance. For now. They emerged into rain's slick night air. Police sirens wailed in the distance. Gordon's people, summoned by Batman before his arrival. The woman stirred in Red Hood's arms, consciousness slowly returning. What happened? She whispered. You're safe, Red Hood said gently. We got you out. The demon. She focused on Maul, fear flickering across her features. Maul crouched to her level, making himself less imposing. You are safe, he repeated. The one who hurt you will face justice. Will he die? The question hung in the rain. All 3 warriors exchanged glances. Finally, Maul answered truthfully, no, he will live in a cage and perhaps escape and hurt others, and the heroes will capture him again. And the cycle will continue. That's not fair. No, Maul agreed. It is not. But it's what we've got. Red Hood adjusted his grip on her. Imperfect justice is better than perfect tyranny. Batman was already moving toward the Batmobile, Joker secured. Get her to Gotham General. I'll handle the clown. He paused. Maul, we're not done talking. I know. The Batmobile roared to life and vanished into Gotham's arterial system. Red Hood carried the woman toward his motorcycle, and Maul stood alone in the abandoned amusement park, rain streaming down his horns, processing everything that had happened. He had faced the ultimate test of his new philosophy, had been given justification, opportunity, and motivation to kill, and he had chosen restraint, not from weakness, not from fear, but from recognition that some choices, once made, could not be unmade. Killing the Joker would have felt righteous, satisfying, just, but it would have proven the Joker correct, that everyone breaks eventually. That morality was performance rather than principle, that the difference between hero and monster was circumstance rather than choice. Maul was beginning to understand why Batman's symbol carried such weight in Gotham. Not because he was the strongest or most skilled, though he was formidable in both, but because he represented the possibility of remaining human while operating in darkness. A Sith Lord would never understand that strength, but Maul was Sith no longer. Red Hood appeared beside him, having deposited the woman with approaching paramedics. You okay? I could have killed him, Maul said again. Yeah, but you didn't. Red Hood's hand clasped his shoulder. That took more strength than any lightsaber technique. My master would call it weakness. Good thing your master isn't here. Red Hood started walking toward the park exit. Come on. Long night, and I need coffee that tastes like battery acid and tastes nothing like moral philosophy. Maul followed, but his mind remained on the Joker's words. The cycle would continue. More victims, more rescues, more impossible choices between justice and mercy. Gotham demanded that its guardians walk a knife's edge between light and darkness, fall too far toward light, and you couldn't protect anyone from the city's horrors. Fall too far toward darkness, and you became another horror the city suffered. The balance was impossible. Maintaining it required constant vigilance, questioning, choice. And for the first time since arriving in this alien city, Maul understood why Red Hood had sought him out. Not for his combat skills or his willingness to kill, but because doing this work alone, without anyone to question your choices and pull you back from edges you didn't see coming, was a path to becoming the thing you hunted. They disappeared into Gotham's vertical maze, 2 warriors who had chosen restraint when violence would have been easier. The city wouldn't thank them. The Joker would escape eventually. More innocents would suffer, But tonight, they had saved one life and maintained their humanity. In Gotham, that qualified as victory. Ra's al Ghul watched Gotham from the penthouse of a building his organization owned through 17 shell companies. The city spread below him like an infected wound, light struggling against darkness. Humanity clinging to civilization's last threads. He had visited this place many times over his 600 years, always finding it exactly as he left it, drowning in its own corruption. But something new had entered Gotham's ecosystem. "The reports are confirmed, Master," Ubu said from behind him. Ra's al Ghul's bodyguard and most loyal servant stood at attention, massive frame casting shadows across the marble floor. "A warrior matching the description has killed 37 criminals in 9 days. Weapon described as an energy blade. Abilities that suggest training beyond human norm." "Show me," Ra's commanded. Ubu activated a holographic display. Footage played from various security cameras. Grainy, corrupted by electromagnetic interference, but sufficient. A tattooed figure with horns moving through Gotham's criminal underworld like a scalpel through disease. Each kill precise, efficient, surgical, beautiful. "The technique is unfamiliar," Ra's observed. "Not Chinese martial arts, not Japanese. The blade work suggests European fencing influence, but the acrobatics are purely alien." He paused the footage on a frame showing Maul's face, and the appearance suggests non-human origin. Metahuman, perhaps, or extraterrestrial. Neither explains the sudden appearance. Ra's replayed the footage, studying each movement. He fights like someone trained from childhood. Absolute discipline. No wasted motion. The precision of an assassin, but the presence of a warrior. He smiled thinly. Someone trained him very well indeed. "The detective grows concerned," Ubu continued. "Batman has confronted this warrior twice. Both encounters ended in stalemate. The detective's concern is irrelevant." Ra's dismissed Batman with a wave. "He clings to outdated morality while the world burns. This new warrior, however," he zoomed in on Maul's weapon. "He kills without hesitation, targets criminal infrastructure, frees the innocent, and eliminates the guilty. He understands what Batman refuses to accept. That some people deserve death? That civilization requires pruning. That paradise cannot grow from poisoned soil." Ra's turned from the window. "Find him. Invite him to meet with me. Politely. And if he refuses, then we remind him that in Gotham, everyone eventually needs allies." Ra's returned his gaze to the city. "He operates with Red Hood currently. Jason Todd, the detective's failure, resurrected through the Lazarus Pit, now killing criminals in misguided vengeance. But this horned warrior is different. He kills not from rage, but from philosophy. That makes him valuable." "The League of Assassins could use such a warrior," Ubu agreed. "More than that." Ra's al Ghul's eyes gleamed with ancient ambition. "The League has operated for 6 centuries, guided by my vision of a cleansed world. We have toppled empires, assassinated tyrants, shaped civilization toward ecological balance. But we lack," he struggled for the word, "mystique. The detective has his symbol. Superman has his hope. Wonder Woman has her divine warrior. We need someone who embodies the League's philosophy with such perfection that merely mentioning their name makes tyrants reconsider their choices. You want him as our symbol? I want him as my heir." Rose turned fully to face Ubu. "If he proves worthy, if his philosophy aligns with ours, if he can be guided to understand that Gotham is merely one infection in a dying world that requires treatment on a global scale." Ubu bowed. "I will find him, Master. Do so carefully. He has already faced Batman twice and survived. He has allied with Red Hood, who knows all the detective's contingencies. He wields weapons and abilities we don't understand." Ra's al Ghul smiled, the expression of a predator that had survived 6 centuries by knowing when to hunt and when to negotiate. "Approach him with respect, offer him knowledge, and make clear that the League of Assassins does not make offers lightly. It will be done." Ubu departed, leaving Ra's alone with Gotham's diseased skyline. Somewhere in that urban nightmare, a warrior operated who understood fundamental truth, that mercy toward evil was cruelty toward good, that some lives were weeds strangling the garden of civilization, The detective had found such a warrior and tried to convert him to weakness. Ra's al Ghul would find the same warrior and offer him strength. Darth Maul sat cross-legged on a rooftop overlooking Crime Alley, rain pattering against his shoulders. The lightsaber lay disassembled before him, components arranged in perfect order, kyber crystal glowing faintly in the darkness. He was supposed to be meditating, centering himself after the encounter with the Joker. Instead, his mind churned with questions. Had he made the correct choice? The Joker lived, would escape, would kill again. Maul's restraint had saved one life tonight, but would cost dozens, perhaps hundreds in the future. The mathematics of morality suggested killing the clown was the optimal solution. But Red Hood's words echoed, "Showing mercy to someone who doesn't deserve it is what separates us from what we hunt." His master had taught different lessons. Darth Sidious viewed mercy as weakness, compassion as poison, restraint as failure. The Sith philosophy was simple: take power, use power, dominate through power. Moral questions were obstacles for the weak to debate while the strong acted. But his master was gone, and Maul found the Sith philosophy increasingly hollow. He had been born on Dathomir, taken as a child by Sidious, trained to be a weapon of pure hatred, never given choice, never shown alternatives, never permitted to question. His entire existence had been service to his master's vision of galactic domination, until the dimensional rift had torn him away from everything he knew and deposited him in Gotham City, a place where darkness wore a cape and refused to kill, where a resurrected warrior operated in moral gray zones while questioning every trigger pull, where even villains like the Joker served philosophical purposes beyond simple evil. This city was teaching him things the Sith had never acknowledged: that strength could manifest as restraint, that symbols mattered more than body counts, that choosing not to kill when killing was easy required more courage than any battlefield valor. "You're thinking too loud," Red Hood said, appearing from the roof access. He carried 2 cups of coffee, one for himself, one for Maul. "Figured you could use this." Maul accepted the cup warily. He'd tried coffee once, found it bitter and unpleasant, but Red Hood insisted it was essential to Gotham vigilantism, so Maul drank. Still bitter, still unpleasant, but warming in the rain. "I am questioning my choices," Maul admitted. "Welcome to heroism. It's nothing but questioning choices." Red Hood settled beside him, gazing across Crime Alley. "You did good tonight. Saved the woman. Didn't kill the Joker. Proved you're more than your training." "My training was all I had. And now you've got more. You've got me. You've got begrudging respect from Batman, which is basically a Medal of Honor." Red Hood sipped his coffee. "You're learning to be something other than a weapon. That's hard work." Maul reassembled his lightsaber with practiced efficiency. "My master trained me from childhood. 20 years of conditioning, discipline, philosophy. How do I undo that in 9 days?" "You don't. You build on top of it." Red Hood gestured at the lightsaber. "That weapon? Your master gave you that. Your combat skills, his training, your tactical mind, his lessons. You don't throw away the useful parts just because you reject the philosophy. The philosophy shaped everything." "Sure, but tools are neutral. It's what you use them for that matters." Red Hood tapped his pistols. "Batman taught me to fight, taught me investigation, taught me to be a symbol. I rejected his no-kill rule, but I kept everything else. Used his lessons to become my own kind of hero. You still question whether you are a hero at all." "Every damn day." Red Hood's helmet tilted toward him. "That's how you know you're doing it right. The moment you stop questioning, you've become the monster." A shadow moved at the rooftop's edge. Both warriors tensed, reaching for weapons. But the figure that emerged wasn't Batman or a threat. It was an older man, possibly 60, wearing an expensive suit that seemed inappropriate for rooftop meetings. Behind him loomed a massive bodyguard, easily 7 feet tall, built like a brick wall. "Forgive the intrusion," the older man said with a cultured accent Maul couldn't place. "I am known as Ra's al Ghul, and I have a proposition for you both." Red Hood's pistols were out instantly. How the hell did you find this location? The League of Assassins finds everything eventually. Ra's al Ghul showed no concern about the weapons pointed at him. Please, lower your arms. If I meant harm, you would already be dead. Ubu's crossbow bolt travels faster than your reflexes. Even yours, Jason Todd. Maul's force senses confirmed it. The massive bodyguard held a weapon trained on Red Hood from beneath his jacket. Invisible to normal sight, but radiating lethal intent. What do you want? Maul demanded, hand on his lightsaber. To speak with you. Both of you, but primarily, Raz gestured at Maul, the warrior who appeared from nowhere and began cleansing Gotham streets with admirable efficiency. Cleansing? Red Hood's voice carried suspicion. That's League terminology. Because the League understands what the detective refuses to accept. Reyes approached slowly, hands visible and empty. That civilization is diseased. That corruption spreads like plague. That sometimes pruning is necessary to preserve the garden. Maul studied the older man. His force presence was unusual. Strong life force, but tinged with something artificial. Not dark side, not light side, but sustained through external means. And behind his cultured exterior, Maul sensed absolute conviction. This was a man who had seen centuries and still believed in his purpose. Dangerous. You want to recruit me, Maul said. I want to offer you perspective. Raz stopped a respectful distance away. You arrived in Gotham 9 days ago. Origin unknown, abilities unexplained, and immediately began hunting criminals with a precision that suggests military training and philosophical commitment. You've been watching me. The League watches everything. We have operated for 600 years, guided by the principle that humanity must be shepherded toward ecological balance. We eliminate those who spread corruption. We topple empires that destroy the natural world. We are the pruning shears that keep civilization's garden from being overrun by weeds. You're assassins, Red Hood said flatly. We are gardeners. Raz smiled thinly. The detective calls us terrorists. We call ourselves necessary. Perspective depends on whether you believe humanity can save itself or requires guidance from those willing to make difficult choices. Maul's master had spoken similarly. The Sith saw themselves as necessary evil, imposing order on a chaotic galaxy. The difference was philosophical scale. Sidious sought personal power through domination, while Raz seemed to pursue ideological goals through calculated violence. Similar methods, different motivations. Why approach me? Maul asked. Because you understand what others refuse to accept. Raz gestured at the city. Gotham is beyond redemption through conventional justice. The corruption runs too deep. The criminal infrastructure too entrenched. The detective has fought for years and achieved nothing permanent. But you, in 9 days, you have accomplished more than he has in a decade. By killing people, Red Hood interjected, which Raz loves, by the way. He's been trying to convince Batman to embrace murder for years. I have been trying to convince the detective to embrace practicality. Raz turned to Red Hood. You already understand this, Jason. You died because Batman refused to kill the Joker. You returned and began killing because you recognized that mercy toward monsters is cruelty toward their future victims. Don't compare me to your death cult, Red Hood said, but his voice lacked conviction. The League is not a death cult. We are stewards of a dying world, trying to preserve what remains through difficult choices. Raz returned his attention to Maul. I offer you more than Gotham. I offer you purpose on a global scale. The League has resources, training facilities, ancient knowledge. We could help you understand your abilities, refine your techniques, provide targets worthy of a warrior of your caliber. And in exchange, loyalty, service, commitment to our vision of a balanced world. Rasa spread his hands. You would become one of the League's elite, perhaps eventually my heir, someone to carry forward our mission after I'm gone. Maul considered the offer. 600 years of infrastructure, global reach, philosophical alignment with his current methods. Raz al Ghul was offering what Darth Sidious had provided: purpose, resources, targets. A master to replace the master he'd lost. Exactly what Maul had been fleeing. I serve no one, Maul said quietly. Everyone serves something, Roz countered. Purpose, philosophy, survival. The question is whether you serve consciously or drift through existence, pretending independence. I choose my own targets, my own methods, my own purpose. And how long will that last? Roz's voice took on paternal tone. You operate with Red Hood, who operates under Batman's shadow. Sooner or later, the detective will force you to choose. Submit to his rules or leave Gotham. The League offers alternative. Operate beyond Batman's reach. Answer to no one but yourself in the mission we share. Red Hood stepped forward. He said, no, Roz. Time for you to leave. Jason, I once offered you the same opportunity to join the League, to use the Lazarus Pit's power for global change rather than petty revenge in one city. Roz's voice carried disappointment. You refused. I hope your new friend is wiser. My friend doesn't need your death cult, your Lazarus Pits, or your 6th-century-old rationalizations for murder. Red Hood's pistols rose slightly. Now get out before I demonstrate why Batman keeps trying to lock you up. Ra's al Ghul studied them both for a long moment. Then slowly he smiled. You will reconsider, both of you, when Batman's restrictions become unbearable, when Gotham's corruption proves endless, when you realize that local action is insufficient against global disease. He turned toward the roof access. The League will be waiting, Maul. We recognize a kindred spirit when we see one. I am kindred to no one. Not yet, but isolation is unsustainable. Eventually, you will seek allies who share your philosophy rather than tolerate it. Roz descended into the building. Until then, I leave you to your limited crusade. Gotham thanks you for the effort, even as it drowns. Ubu followed his master, the massive bodyguard moving with surprising silence. Within moments, they had vanished into the building's depths. Red Hood holstered his pistols. Well, that was deeply unsettling. He offered me an army, Maul said. Resources, purpose, everything a warrior could want. Yeah, in exchange for your soul and complicity in eco-terrorism? Red Hood's voice carried bitter experience. Roz is good at this. Makes you question everything. Makes his way sound reasonable. Then you're drowning people in Lazarus pits and toppling governments. You refused him. Because I learned the hard way that replacing one bad master with another just changes the uniform. Red Hood sat back down, retrieving his coffee. Raz wants to save the world by killing most of it. That's not justice. That's just apocalypse with better marketing. Maul reactivated his lightsaber, both blades igniting. He watched the crimson light reflect in rain puddles, considering paths before him. Batman offered restraint and rules. Raz offered purpose and resources. Red Hood offered partnership without domination. 3 different philosophies, 3 different futures. His master would have chosen power, would have joined Ra's al Ghul, used the League's resources, eventually betrayed them when opportunity arose. The Sith way? Take what you need, discard the rest, accumulate power until nothing remained but domination. But Maul was Sith no longer. I choose Gotham, Maul said finally. I choose to hunt here, with you, without masters. Even though it means fighting Batman occasionally and turning down global influence, especially because of that, Maul extinguished his lightsaber. My previous master gave me purpose that served his vision. Ra's al Ghul offers the same, but you, he gestured at Red Hood, you offer choice, partnership, the chance to forge my own path. That path might be harder, more questioning, more doubt. Good. Maul's yellow eyes reflected the city lights. Doubt means I am thinking. Questioning means I am choosing. That is worth more than any army or ancient organization. Red Hood was silent for a moment. Then, you're going to make me emotional, and this helmet doesn't do well with tears. Do you actually cry in there? That's classified information. Red Hood stood, offering his hand. Partners, then, in Gotham's gray zones, against everyone who thinks they know better than us what justice means. Maul clasped his forearm in warrior's grip. Partners. They stood together on the rooftop, rain falling across Gotham's wounded landscape. Below, sirens wailed. Above, storm clouds gathered. And between them, 2 warriors who had rejected the masters who shaped them began forging something new. Not heroism in Batman's image, Not villainy in the Joker's chaos. Not Ra's al Ghul's global assassination cult or Darth Sidious's Sith domination. Something else. Something Gotham had never quite seen before. Two warriors choosing their own targets, setting their own limits, walking their own knife's edge between justice and vengeance. The city would judge them. Batman would hunt them. Ra's al Ghul would watch from shadows, waiting for them to fail. But for now, in this moment, they had each other. And that was enough. Darkseid stood in the throne room of Apocalypse, watching Earth through technology that bent space and time. His gray stone skin remained motionless, but his eyes, glowing red with the power of Omega energy, tracked something that should not exist in this universe. Granny goodness, his voice rumbled like continents grinding. Tell me what you see. The matron of the female Furies stepped forward, her withered face twisted into permanent cruelty. She had trained warriors for millennia, turned innocents into killers, and never once encountered something that gave her pause. Until now. The creature fights with technique unfamiliar to New God combat doctrine, she said, reviewing holographic footage stolen from Earth's satellites. The weapon, a blade of pure energy, suggests technology beyond human capability, but inferior to Mother Box science. Show me again, the footage replayed. Darth Maul moving through a warehouse, lightsaber carving through human criminals with surgical precision. Each strike economical, each kill purposeful. The weapon itself was fascinating. Focused plasma contained by an electromagnetic field, handheld, elegant, primitive by Apocalypse standards, but effective. He is not human, Granny Goodness continued. The tattoo patterns, the horns, the enhanced physiology, all suggest alien origin. Yet Earth has no record of his species, and his fighting style. She paused, uncertain. It reminds me of something old, very old. The source, Darkseid said quietly. Lord? He draws on power that predates even the new gods. Darkseid's massive hand clenched. Not the emotional spectrum, not magic, something else. An energy that permeates reality itself, manipulated through will and discipline. Should we retrieve him, study him, turn him into a weapon for Apocalypse? Darkseid was silent, calculating. He had searched for the anti-life equation for eons, the mathematical proof that free will was illusion, that all sentient beings could be dominated through pure logical certainty. That equation would grant him control over every mind in existence, making resistance impossible and obedience inevitable. This warrior used a different kind of power, not mathematical, not technological, something organic to the universe itself. Interesting, potentially useful, certainly dangerous if left unchecked. Send a scout, Darkseid commanded. A parademon, low-level observation only. I want to know what this creature is, where it came from, and whether it poses threat to Apocalypse. And if it does, then I will crush it personally. Darkseid turned from the viewing screen. But if it can be turned, if its power can be bent toward our purpose, his eyes flared brighter, then we may have found something more valuable than another world to conquer. Granny Goodness bowed and withdrew. Within hours, a parademon would be dispatched to Earth. It would observe, report, gather intelligence, and Darkseid would decide whether this dimensional anomaly was prey or potential. Either way, Gotham's newest vigilante had attracted attention from beyond the stars. Darth Maul stood on a rooftop in the Narrows, extending his force senses across the district. 10 days in Gotham had refined his connection to the city's darkness. He could feel criminal intent like ripples on water. Desperation here, predatory hunger there, territorial violence brewing 3 blocks south. Red Hood had taught him the neighborhood dynamics. Crime Alley belonged to small-timers and desperate people. The Narrows housed organized operations, prostitution rings, drug distribution, protection rackets. The East End was Penguin's territory, relatively professional but brutal when challenged. And downtown, where corporate towers scraped clouds, corruption wore suits and operated through lawyers. Each district required different approaches. Got something, Red Hood said, checking his tablet. Oracle had sent new intelligence, a trafficking operation moving through the Narrows. Children, purchased from poverty-stricken families in other countries, destined for Gotham's underground markets. The shipment would arrive tonight, Intercepting human trafficking had become their specialty. Batman focused on supervillains and major threats. The GCPD was too corrupt or overwhelmed. That left the gray space where Red Hood and Maul operated. Too violent for heroes, too purposeful for villains. "How many guards?" Maul asked. "Oracle estimates 12, maybe 15. Well-armed, professional security, not street thugs." Red Hood zoomed in on the warehouse location. "They'll have the children drugged and contained. We hit fast, extract the victims, eliminate the traffickers. Batman will object. Batman can object all he wants. We're doing this." Red Hood's voice carried the certainty of someone who'd made peace with his choices. "These kids don't have time for Bruce to build a legal case." Maul nodded. They had operated together for 10 days now, developing efficient partnership. Red Hood provided intelligence, tactical planning, local knowledge. Maul provided combat superiority, force abilities, and unwavering commitment to protecting innocents through lethal force when necessary. Batman had confronted them twice more since the Joker incident. Each encounter ended in philosophical stalemate. Batman insisting they surrender, Red Hood and Maul refusing, everyone walking away frustrated but alive. An uneasy equilibrium that couldn't last forever. But tonight wasn't about Batman. Tonight was about children who needed rescue. They moved toward the target location, traveling across rooftops with practiced efficiency. Gotham spread below them. 10 million people, most trying to survive, some trying to profit from others' suffering. The strong preying on weak, natural selection given urban form. His master would have loved this city. Maul pushed the thought aside. Darth Sidious was gone, lost across dimensional barriers, or perhaps dead at Jedi hands. Either way, his teachings no longer bound Maul. The warrior who arrived in Gotham had been Sith. The warrior who now hunted through the Narrows was something different, something still being defined. They approached the target warehouse from multiple angles. Red Hood from the west, Maul from the east. Standard flanking maneuver, cutting off escape routes while creating crossfire advantage. Oracle monitored through hacked security cameras, feeding them real-time information. 12 guards confirmed. Her voice came through Red Hood's comm. "Children are in the central loading area, drugged but alive. You've got maybe 10 minutes before they start the transfer to secondary buyers." "Copy that," Red Hood whispered. "Maul, you ready?" Maul ignited his lightsaber in response, both blades burning crimson in the darkness. The Force sang with anticipation, violence approaching like a storm. "Subtle," Red Hood muttered. "On 3. 1, 2. The warehouse doors exploded inward. Not from Red Hood's entry, not from Maul's force push, from something else entirely. A boom tube, the distinctive sound of new god technology tearing reality. And through that portal stepped something that made Maul's danger sense scream. A creature 7 feet tall, gray leathery skin, wings folded against muscular back, claws dripping with toxic promise. Its face was all teeth and hunger, eyes glowing with malevolent intelligence. It wore no clothing, needed none. Was itself a weapon forged in apocalypse fire pits, a parademon. Maul had never seen one, but knew instinctively what it was. Servant of Darkseid, scout of the new gods, harbinger of conquest. The warehouse guards opened fire immediately. Bullets ricocheted off the creature's hide. It laughed, a sound like grinding metal, and began tearing through them with casual brutality. "What the hell is that?" Red Hood appeared at Maul's side, pistols drawn. "New god," Maul said. "Apocalypse. It's a scout." "A scout for what?" "For me." Maul's grip tightened on his lightsaber. The creature hadn't attacked the children. It was clearing the guards, eliminating interference. This wasn't random violence. This was calculated observation, removing obstacles to study the primary target. The parademon finished killing the last guard and turned toward Maul. It cocked its head, studying him with disturbing intelligence. Then it spoke, voice a raspy growl that suggested human speech was barely possible. "Darkseid sees you." "Tell Darkseid," Maul said coldly, "that I am not interested in his attention." The parademon laughed again. "All bow. Eventually, you will serve or die." It launched itself at Maul with blinding speed. The Sith warrior met its charge, lightsaber sweeping in a crimson arc. The blade struck the creature's shoulder. The Parademon screamed, plasma burning through leathery hide. But the wound wasn't lethal. It twisted mid-attack, claws raking across Maul's chest. His robes tore, blood welled, black in the darkness. Pain flared, but Maul had been bisected and survived through pure hatred. Claw wounds were nothing. He force-pushed the creature through a warehouse wall. Red Hood opened fire, high-caliber rounds designed to penetrate body armor. Some struck the Parademon, making it stumble but not fall. The creature turned toward this new threat, wings spreading. Oh shit! Red Hood dove as the Parademon launched itself at him. Maul Force pulled Red Hood aside and met the creature's charge directly. His lightsaber became a blur, both blades working in concert, carving patterns through the air. The Parademon was fast, but Maul was faster, trained by Darth Sidious to fight multiple Jedi simultaneously. One new God Scout was manageable, barely. The creature adapted quickly, learning to anticipate his strikes, using its wings to create unpredictable movement patterns. Claws lashed out, seeking vital organs. Teeth snapped toward his throat. It was trying to capture rather than kill. Darkseid wanted him alive for study. Unacceptable. Maul tapped deeper into the Force, drawing on Gotham's ambient darkness. The city's suffering provided fuel, rage and despair concentrated through decades of corruption. He channeled that energy into his next strike. Force-enhanced speed, Sith fury, absolute commitment to destruction. His lightsaber took the Parademon's right arm. The creature howled, toxic blood spraying across concrete. It retreated, wings beating, creating distance. Red Hood fired again, this time targeting the wings. Precision shots calculated to ground the creature. 2 rounds struck true, membrane tore, the Parademon crashed to the floor. Maul advanced for the killing blow. The boom tube opened again. This time, 3 more Parademons emerged. No, not just 3, 6, a dozen. They poured through the portal, snarling and howling, claws extending. The warehouse filled with New God soldiers, all focused on one target. "We need to leave," Red Hood shouted. "Now!" The children. Oracle's calling GCPD and Batman. They'll secure the kids. We stay here. We die. Red Hood grabbed Maul's arm. "Move!" They ran. Not retreat born of cowardice, but tactical withdrawal. 2 warriors recognizing overwhelming odds. Maul Force pushed through a wall, creating an exit. Behind them, Parademons shrieked and gave chase. The hunt was on. They fled across Gotham's rooftops, force speed and parkour training, keeping them barely ahead of flying predators. The Parademons were relentless, adapted to 3-dimensional combat, superior in aerial maneuverability. Only Maul's Force precognition prevented them from being caught, sensing attacks before they landed, adjusting trajectory at the last possible moment. "Why are they here?" Red Hood gasped between jumps. "Why now?" "Darkseid noticed me," Maul said. "Sent scouts to evaluate threat level." "And their evaluation?" "Probably that I am worth capturing." A Parademon dove from above. Maul's lightsaber swept upward, bisecting it mid-flight. The creature fell in 2 pieces, but 3 more took its place. They were hurting him, he realized, driving him toward a specific location. A trap. Classic military tactic. "We're being corralled," Maul warned. "Yeah, I figured." Red Hood threw a smoke grenade behind them. "Suggestions?" "We stand and fight. Against a dozen flying monsters from the Apocalypse planet?" "Yes." "I was afraid you'd say that." Red Hood checked his ammunition. "Okay, next rooftop. We make our stand there." They landed on a rooftop near Gotham Harbor. Open space, no cover. Tactically disadvantageous, but nowhere left to run. The Parademons circled above, calculating, waiting for orders from whatever intelligence coordinated them. Maul ignited both blades of his lightsaber. Red Hood raised his pistols. 2 warriors against 12 New God soldiers. The odds were terrible. "If we die," Red Hood said, "I want you to know this has been the weirdest partnership I've ever had. We are not dying tonight. Love the confidence, possibly misplaced, but I love it." The Parademons attacked as one. a coordinated assault from multiple vectors. Maul's lightsaber became a crimson hurricane, deflecting claws and teeth. Red Hood's pistols thundered, each shot precisely aimed at vulnerable points: eyes, wing membranes, joints. They fought back to back, covering each other's blind spots, moving in synchronization born from 10 days of partnership. They killed 3, wounded 2 more, and were slowly being overwhelmed. Then Batman arrived. The Dark Knight descended from a batwing hovering overhead, cape spreading like judgment. He threw something, sonic emitter, calibrated to frequency that made parademons shriek and retreat. Then another device, electromagnetic pulse that disrupted New God technology, forcing the boom tube generator to malfunction. "Get behind me," Batman commanded. Maul hesitated. Taking orders from Batman felt wrong, but tactical logic overrode pride. They were losing this fight, and Batman's resources offered survival. They fell back. Batman deployed a force field generator, creating a bubble of energy that the parademons couldn't penetrate. They threw themselves against the barrier, shrieking frustration, but the technology held. "New God incursion," Batman said, not looking at them. "They're after you specifically." His white eyes turned toward Maul. "What did you do?" "I exist," Maul said. Apparently that was sufficient. Darkseid doesn't send scouts for random anomalies. You're something he wants. Batman activated his risk computer, analyzing the parademons. These are reconnaissance units. If they report back, he'll send a full invasion force. "Then we kill them all," Maul said. "Agreed." Batman's voice carried grim satisfaction. "For once, our objectives align." The force field collapsed. Batman's generator had a limited power supply. The parademons surged forward, but this time, 3 warriors met them instead of 2. Batman's combat style was different from Maul's or Red Hood's. No lethal strikes, just brutal efficiency. Batarangs targeted wing membranes, electrical shocks overloaded nervous systems. Explosive gel created disorienting blasts. He didn't kill the parademons, he neutralized them. Between Batman's resources, Red Hood's firepower, and Maul's force abilities, they systematically eliminated the invasion force. Bodies piled on the rooftop, some dead, some unconscious, all no longer threats. The last parademon tried to activate its boom tube emergency recall. Maul force pulled it back, prevented its escape, delivered the killing blow with his lightsaber. The creature died gurgling warnings about Darkseid's inevitable conquest. Silence fell across the rooftop. 3 warriors stood among New God corpses, breathing hard, bleeding from multiple wounds. Batman's armor was torn. Red Hood's helmet was cracked. Maul's chest showed deep claw marks that would have killed a normal human. "The children?" Maul asked. "Safe," Batman said. "Gordon's people secured them. All 23 traffickers are in custody. Alive," he added, looking pointedly at Red Hood and Maul. This time we were busy with aliens," Red Hood said. Batman turned to Maul. "You need medical attention. Those wounds will heal." Maul's Zabrak physiology and force-enhanced constitution meant injuries that would be fatal for humans were merely inconvenient. "I have survived worse. That's not the point." Batman's voice softened fractionally. "Darkseid has noticed you. That means Earth is now on his radar for reasons beyond his usual conquest attempts. You've made yourself a target, and by extension, made this planet one. I did not ask for his attention. No, but you have it." Batman began collecting parademon tissue samples. "I'm taking these to the Watchtower. The Justice League needs to know about this incursion, and about you." "The Justice League?" Red Hood stepped forward. "You're bringing in the League?" "New God activity on Earth requires League response. Protocol is clear." Batman looked at Maul. "They'll want to meet you. Ask questions about your origin, your abilities, your intentions." "I do not answer to your Justice League." "No one's asking you to, but if Darkseid considers you important enough to send a reconnaissance force, then Superman and Wonder Woman need to know why." Batman activated his grapple gun. "I'm giving you 48 hours. After that, the League will find you whether you cooperate or not." He fired the grapple and vanished into Gotham's darkness. Red Hood and Maul stood alone among alien corpses, rain beginning to fall. The wounds would heal, The dead parademons would be cleaned up, but the implications remained. Maul had attracted attention from forces beyond Gotham, beyond Earth, beyond anything he'd prepared for. Darkseid, Lord of Apocalypse, seeker of the anti-life equation, a being of power that made even Darth Sidious seem limited by comparison. "This is bad," Red Hood said quietly. "Yes, the Justice League will come. Superman, Wonder Woman, the whole roster. They'll want answers. I have none to give." "Then make some up." Red Hood turned toward him. "Because if Darkseid wants you, that makes you cosmically important. And cosmically important things don't get to operate in Gotham's gray zones anymore. They get dragged into the light, analyzed, categorized, controlled." Maul looked at his hands, stained with parademon blood, trembling slightly from adrenaline and force exertion. 10 days ago, he had arrived in this city seeking nothing but survival. Now he faced interrogation by Earth's greatest heroes and potential invasion by the universe's greatest tyrant. His master would have fled, would have hidden, gathered strength, emerged only when advantage was assured. The Sith way: survive first, dominate later. But Maul was Sith no longer. "Let them come," Maul said. "The Justice League, Darkseid, all of them. I will not hide. That's either very brave or very stupid. Perhaps both." Maul extinguished his lightsaber. "But I am tired of running from powers greater than myself. My master, the Jedi, now Darkseid. At some point, a warrior must stand his ground. Even against impossible odds? Especially against impossible odds." Maul began walking toward the rooftop edge. "That is when character is revealed, when we discover who we truly are." Red Hood followed. "And who are you, Maul? Really?" Maul paused at the edge, looking across Gotham's wounded landscape. 10 days, 43 criminals killed, dozens of innocents saved, partnership forged with a resurrected warrior, confrontations with Batman, the Joker, Ra's al Ghul, and now attention from cosmic forces beyond comprehension. Who was he? Not Darth Maul, apprentice to Darth Sidious. That warrior had died in the dimensional rift. Not a Sith Lord pursuing galactic conquest. That purpose had been lost when he crossed into this universe. Someone new, someone still being forged in Gotham's darkness. "I am a warrior without a master," Maul said finally. "Seeking purpose in a city that mirrors my own corruption. Fighting to protect the weak while questioning whether I deserve to be called protector. Walking a knife's edge between justice and vengeance." He looked at Red Hood. "I am what you helped me become. Something between Sith and hero. Something Gotham has never seen before." Red Hood was quiet for a long moment. Then, "That's the most honest thing I've heard anyone say in this city. Is it enough? To face the Justice League? Probably not. To stand against Darkseid? Definitely not." Red Hood clasped his shoulder. "But it's a start, and in Gotham, that's all anyone gets." They disappeared into the city's vertical maze, two warriors facing uncertain futures. Behind them, parademon corpses bore silent testimony to cosmic powers taking notice. And far above, on the moon-based watchtower, Batman transmitted his report to the Justice League. The game had changed. Gotham's newest vigilante had become Earth's newest complication. And somewhere in the void between dimensions, Darkseid smiled. The Watchtower conference room held Earth's mightiest defenders. Superman stood at the head of the table, cape draped over his chair, the weight of leadership evident in his posture. Wonder Woman sat to his right, armor gleaming, lasso of truth coiled at her hip. The Flash vibrated slightly in his seat, nervous energy, not danger. Green Lantern. Hal Jordan projected constructs unconsciously, emerald rings creating miniature light shows. Aquaman's trident leaned against his chair. Martian Manhunter's red eyes studied Batman's holographic presentation with unblinking intensity, and Batman stood before them all, presenting evidence of Gotham's newest anomaly. "Darth Maul," Batman said, the name sounding foreign in his gravelly voice, "appeared in Gotham 10 days ago. Origin unknown, species unknown. Abilities include telekinesis, energy projection, enhanced strength and speed, precognitive combat reflexes, and mastery of an energy blade he calls a lightsaber. The hologram showed footage, Maul fighting criminals, deflecting bullets with plasma blades, force-pushing opponents through walls. Superman leaned forward, brow furrowed. Wonder Woman's expression remained neutral, but her hand moved to her lasso. "You're certain he's not from Earth?" Superman asked. "DNA analysis confirms non-terrestrial origin, but not any species in our database." Batman pulled up another screen. "He's killed 43 criminals in 10 days, 0 civilian casualties, all targets verified as murderers, rapists, or human traffickers. A vigilante," Wonder Woman said, "like you. With one critical difference." Batman's jaw tightened. "I don't kill, but he's effective," Hal Jordan observed. 43 confirmed kills, all verified bad guys. That's actually impressive efficiency. "It's murder," Superman said firmly, "regardless of the victim's crimes." "Is it?" Aquaman's voice carried the weight of a king who'd ordered executions. "As ruler of Atlantis, I've sentenced criminals to death. When someone commits crimes worthy of ultimate punishment, swift justice is sometimes necessary." "This isn't about philosophy," Batman interjected. "It's about the New God incursion. Darkseid sent a reconnaissance force specifically targeting Maul. 12 parademons. They ignored criminal activity, civilian presence, everything, focused exclusively on capturing him." The room fell silent. Darkseid's interest was never casual. "Why?" Superman asked the question they were all thinking. "Unknown, but Maul possesses abilities that suggest training in some form of mystical or psychic discipline. He calls it the Force." Batman pulled up combat footage showing Maul using telekinesis mid-battle. "It's not the emotional spectrum, not magic in the traditional sense, something different." Martian Manhunter spoke, his telepathic voice resonating in their minds. "I attempted a surface scan during Batman's recent encounter. The warrior's mental shields are formidable, but I sensed rage. Profound rage. And beneath it, questions. He doubts himself." "Doubt can be good," Flash said. "Means he's got a conscience. Killers without conscience are way worse." "Or doubt makes him unpredictable," Wonder Woman countered. "A warrior questioning his purpose is dangerous to friend and foe alike." Superman stood, cape settling around his shoulders. "We need to bring him in, talk to him, understand his intentions and capabilities. If Darkseid wants him, we need to know why." "He won't come willingly," Batman said. "He's allied with Red Hood, operates in Gotham's gray zones, sees himself as independent." "Then we make it not a request," Hal Jordan suggested. "No." Superman's voice carried the authority that made him Earth's moral compass. "We approach him peacefully, offer dialogue. If he refuses, we reassess. But we don't start with threats." "He's killed 43 people, Clark," Batman said flatly. "And I've killed more." Wonder Woman's voice was quiet but firm. "In war, in defense of innocence, when no other option existed, the warrior's code sometimes demands blood." She looked at Superman. "We cannot judge him by Batman's standards alone. Some cultures, some training, some philosophies view lethal force differently." "Diana?" "She's right," Aquaman said. "Atlantean justice includes execution for certain crimes. The surface world's squeamishness about death doesn't make it universal morality." Superman's expression tightened. This was the League's eternal debate, where compassion ended and justice began. How to maintain heroic principles while acknowledging that sometimes removing threats permanently was the only option. "We talk to him first," or Superman decided. "I'll go to Gotham, make contact, see if he's willing to explain himself." "I'll accompany you," Wonder Woman said. "A warrior should speak with warriors." "And I'll monitor from the watchtower," Martian Manhunter added. "If he proves hostile, I can intervene telepathically." Batman's eyes narrowed. "This is my city. I make first contact." "You've already made contact 3 times," Superman said gently, "and each time ended in confrontation. Maybe a fresh approach is needed." He trusts Red Hood. Jason can facilitate. Jason is part of the problem. Superman's tone remained diplomatic but firm. "He's enabling lethal vigilantism. We need to separate Maul from that influence. Understand what he wants beyond Red Hood's philosophy. Batman said nothing, but his posture radiated disagreement. It's decided, Superman continued. Diana and I will go to Gotham tonight. We'll offer dialogue, not conflict. If he's reasonable, maybe we can bring him into the League. Give him purpose beyond killing. And if he's not reasonable, Hal asked. Superman's expression was grim. Then we deal with someone powerful enough to attract Darkseid's attention, operating without oversight on Earth, which is unacceptable. The meeting adjourned. League members departed to their respective duties, but Batman remained, studying the holographic footage of Maul fighting parademons with Red Hood at his side. Alfred's voice came through his comm. You disagree with Master Kent's approach. Clark sees the best in everyone, Batman said quietly. It's his greatest strength and his most dangerous weakness. And you see the worst? I see the reality. Maul is a killer, trained from childhood based on his combat discipline. Potentially traumatized, definitely dangerous. Clark thinks he can talk him into redemption. Batman pulled up another file, Ra's al Ghul's scout reports. But Ra's has already approached him, offered the League of Assassins, and Maul refused. That suggests independence, yes, but also suggests he's rejecting every authority figure who tries to control him. Which makes Superman's peaceful approach inadvisable, which makes it potentially catastrophic. Batman closed the files. Clark will offer the Justice League. Maul will refuse. Clark will insist. And then we'll have a conflict between Superman and someone who can manipulate gravity, project energy, and fights with weapons that can cut through nearly anything. You believe Master Kent will lose? I believe the battle will destroy parts of Gotham and prove to Maul that the Justice League is just another organization trying to control him. Batman turned from the console, which will drive him exactly where we don't want him, into isolation, paranoia, or worse, into alliance with actual villains. Then what do you propose? Batman headed toward the teleporter. I'm going to have a conversation with Jason before Clark ruins everything. In a crime alley safe house, Darth Maul meditated while Red Hood monitored news feeds. The Parademon attack had been covered up. Official story claimed gas main explosion, but underworld whispers told different tales. Aliens in Gotham, monsters hunting the demon vigilante. Darkseid's name circulating through criminal networks that usually didn't concern themselves with cosmic threats. We're famous, Red Hood said without humor. Every crime boss in Gotham now knows about you and wants you either dead or recruited. Black Mask has a bounty. Two-Face is debating whether to hire you or kill you. Even the Penguin's taking notice, and he usually stays out of vigilante affairs. Maul opened his eyes. Let them come. That's not the problem. The problem is Batman says the Justice League is coming. Superman, Wonder Woman, the big guns. Red Hood pulled up news articles. Clark Kent's been spotted in Gotham. His civilian identity. Diana Prince arrived this morning. They're mobilizing. To arrest me? To talk, Red Hood said with audible skepticism, which in Superman speak means convince you to join us or we'll have problems. Maul stood, moving to the window. Gotham spread below, his hunting ground for 10 days, his refuge from cosmic forces, his chance to be something other than a Sith weapon. And now Earth's greatest heroes came to categorize him, contain him, control him, just like his master had. I will not join their Justice League, Maul said. I figured, but saying no to Superman is complicated. He's the most powerful being on Earth, and he genuinely believes he's doing the right thing by bringing you into the fold. His belief is irrelevant. To you, maybe, but Superman's not someone you say no to lightly. Red Hood stood, checking his weapons. I've seen him in action, fought alongside him a few times before I died. He's stronger than anything you've faced, faster than your force reflexes can track, nearly invulnerable. Nearly, Maul noted. Yeah, nearly. Kryptonite, magic, red sun radiation. He's got weaknesses, but exploiting them means you're fighting the Justice League, not just Superman, and that fight ends badly for everyone. Maul turned from the window. What do you suggest? Talk to them, hear them out, see if there's middle ground. Red Hood's voice carried reluctant pragmatism. I hate saying it, But sometimes playing nice with the heroes is smarter than fighting them. They're not enemies, just obstacles to operating the way we want. I serve no one. I know, and they need to understand that. But you can be independent without being hostile. Red Hood moved beside him. Look, I'm Batman's wayward son. I've got history, baggage, trauma that makes me reject his authority. But you're new, unknown, potentially recruitable to the League without the psychological damage I bring. You want me to infiltrate them? No. I want you to not make enemies of the most powerful beings on Earth when we're already dealing with Darkseid taking interest. Red Hood's helmet reflected city lights. Be yourself. Be honest. Tell them you're not joining, but do it diplomatically. Give them respect even if you don't give them obedience. Maul considered this. His master had taught him to view all relationships as tactical. Allies were resources to exploit. Enemies were obstacles to eliminate. Neutrals were irrelevant. But Red Hood suggested something different, treating powerful beings as equals worthy of respect, even when rejecting their authority. A Sith would never do that. But Maul was Sith no longer. I will speak with them, Maul decided, but I make no promises beyond dialogue. That's all I'm asking. Red Hood's comm beeped. Barbara says Superman and Wonder Woman are en route. They'll be here in 10 minutes. Here? They know this location? Bruce probably told them, or they tracked us some other way. Point is, they're coming. Red Hood moved toward the exit. You want me to stay? Maul shook his head. This conversation should happen without complications. Your presence would make it about Batman's failures rather than my choices. You sure? Yes, go. I will contact you after they leave. Red Hood hesitated, then nodded. Good luck, and remember, Superman's the strongest, but Diana's the best fighter. If things go south, target her first. I do not intend to fight them. Yeah, well, neither did I the first time I died. Red Hood disappeared through the window, grappling into Gotham's darkness. Maul stood alone in the safe house, awaiting Earth's greatest heroes. His hand rested on his lightsaber, not from intention to fight, but from habit, a warrior's comfort in familiar tools. 10 days ago, he would have prepared for battle, plotted escape routes, calculated tactical advantages. Now he simply waited. The window opened. No knock, no announcement. Just Superman floating outside, cape billowing despite no wind, the perfect symbol of hope looking distinctly wary. Beside him, Wonder Woman hovered on air currents that shouldn't support human flight, armor gleaming, eyes assessing Maul with warrior's precision. May we come in? Superman asked, polite, respectful. His voice carried the warmth of Kansas farmland and the authority of Earth's protector. Maul gestured assent. They entered, Superman's boots touching the floor with barely a sound. Wonder Woman landed with warrior's grace, hand near her lasso but not touching it. They filled the small safe house with presence that had nothing to do with physical size. These were beings accustomed to commanding attention through sheer force of conviction. I'm Superman, the Man of Steel said. This is Wonder Woman. We're with the Justice League. I know who you are, Maul said. Batman spoke of you. He speaks highly of your combat abilities, Wonder Woman said. Her voice carried accent that suggested Mediterranean origin. He also says you've killed 43 people in 10 days. Criminals, Maul clarified. Murderers, rapists, slavers. Those who prey on the innocent. That's not for you to judge, Superman said firmly but not aggressively. We have laws, courts, justice systems designed to handle criminals without execution. Your justice systems fail, Maul countered. I have witnessed it. Criminals escape. Corruption enables predators. The innocent suffer while heroes debate procedure. Sometimes, Superman admitted, our systems aren't perfect, but killing isn't the answer. It never is. Tell that to your enemies. Maul's yellow eyes fixed on Superman. How many has Darkseid killed? How many worlds conquered? Yet you show him mercy every time he invades, allowing him to escape and return stronger. Superman's jaw tightened. That's different. It is exactly the same. You possess power to end threats permanently. You choose not to. That choice costs lives, Maul gestured at the city. Gotham drowns in corruption because Batman refuses to do what is necessary. You could clean this city in an afternoon. Instead, you allow it to suffer because of philosophical principles that mean nothing to victims. Wonder Woman stepped forward. You speak as a warrior. I understand warrior's truth, that sometimes removing an enemy permanently is the only way to protect the innocent. But warriors also understand honor, restraint, the weight of taking a life, even when justified. I understand all of that, Maul said quietly. I was trained from childhood to kill, shaped into a weapon by a master who valued only power. For 20 years, I killed without question, without hesitation, without remorse, because my master commanded it. And now, Superman asked? Now I choose my own targets, set my own limits, kill not because I am commanded, but because I judge it necessary. Maul's hand moved to his lightsaber. That is the difference between weapon and warrior. Choice. But your choices still end in death, Superman said. 43 people dead because you decided they deserved it. That's not justice. That's vigilantism at its worst. And your Justice League? Maul's voice carried challenge. You operate without government oversight, make decisions affecting billions, possess godlike power with no accountability except your own moral certainty. How is that different? Superman and Wonder Woman exchanged glances. It was a question the League grappled with constantly. Their right to intervene, their responsibility to restrain themselves, the thin line between protector and tyrant. We don't kill, Superman said finally. That's the difference. That's the line we never cross. A line that costs lives, Maul said. But you've already acknowledged that. So we return to the fundamental question, why are you here? Wonder Woman spoke. Darkseid has taken interest in you. That makes you Earth's concern, whether you wish it or not. We need to understand your capabilities, your origins, your intentions. I am a warrior seeking purpose in a city that mirrors my own darkness, Maul said. I hunt criminals because I am skilled at it, and they deserve hunting. I protect innocents because protecting them is the only purpose I have found that feels meaningful. That is all. And Darkseid, Superman pressed, wants me for reasons I don't understand. I did not invite his attention. But you have it, which means we need to work together. Superman's voice took on diplomatic tone. The Justice League can offer protection, resources, guidance. Join us. We'll help you find purpose beyond killing. Help you become the hero you're clearly trying to be. There it was, the offer, the attempt to control him through inclusion. Maul studied Superman, the perfect hero, raised on a Kansas farm, instilled with human morality despite godlike power. He meant every word, genuinely believed the League was salvation rather than cage. No, Maul said. Superman blinked. No? I will not join your Justice League. I will not submit to your authority or adopt your philosophy. I will continue hunting criminals in Gotham, using methods you disapprove of, operating independently of your oversight. That's not acceptable, Wonder Woman said, hand moving to her lasso. It is the only option I offer. Maul's lightsaber remained holstered, but his force presence expanded, making the air feel heavier. I respect your power, acknowledge your good intentions, but I will not replace one master with another, no matter how benevolent. We're not trying to be your masters, Superman started. Yes, you are. Maul's voice cut through. Offering guidance is control. Providing resources is leverage. Joining the League means adopting League rules, League philosophy, League oversight. That is servitude dressed as partnership. It's accountability, Superman said, voice hardening. Someone with your power can't operate unchecked. Then check me. Maul's yellow eyes blazed. Send your heroes to stop me. Deploy your armies. Use your godlike powers. But understand, I will not submit. Not to you, not to Batman, not to any authority that demands obedience rather than respect. The room filled with tension. Wonder Woman's hand touched her lasso. Superman's eyes began glowing faintly red, heat vision preparing, the threat subtle but unmistakable. Don't do this, Superman said quietly. Don't make us enemies. I am not making enemies. I am refusing servitude. Maul's hand moved to his lightsaber. Not aggressive, just ready. If you insist on forcing me into your Justice League, then we fight. And win or lose, I will have proven my point, that your protection is just tyranny with better marketing. Wonder Woman stepped between them. Stop! Both of you! She looked at Superman. He's right. Diana, he's right, Clark. Wonder Woman turned to Maul, warrior recognizing warrior. We cannot force you to join. That would make us exactly what you accuse us of being, tyrants imposing our will. But we can't let him operate unchecked, so Superman protested. So we don't. Wonder Woman's voice carried pragmatic wisdom. We watch, we monitor, we stand ready to intervene if he crosses lines we cannot accept. But we don't force him into a cage just because he refuses to join our flock. Superman looked torn. Everything in him wanted to protect Earth by bringing all-powerful beings under League oversight. But Diana was right. Forcing compliance was tyranny, regardless of good intentions. Fine, Superman said finally. You can refuse the League, but understand, we'll be watching. One innocent death, one step beyond justified defense, and we come for you, not as enemies, as justice. Acceptable, Maul said. And Darkseid? Wonder Woman asked. If he comes for you, will you accept our help? Maul considered. Pride demanded he refuse, but pragmatism recognized that facing Darkseid alone was suicide. If the Lord of Apocalypse invades, I will fight alongside any who oppose him, but that does not make me your subordinate. Allies then, Wonder Woman extended her hand. Not friends, not League, but warriors who share common enemy. Maul studied her hand. In his culture, such gestures carried weight. Accepting touch meant accepting bond. But he had already bonded with Red Hood, already begun trusting others despite his training, screaming that trust was weakness. He clasped her forearm in warrior's grip. Allies. Superman watched the exchange, clearly unhappy, but accepting the compromise. We'll leave you to your hunting, but Maul, consider that there might be better ways. Batman found them. Even Jason found some balance. Maybe you can too. Perhaps, Maul said, but I will discover that balance on my own terms. They left through the window, Superman and Wonder Woman lifting into Gotham's sky. Maul watched them disappear into clouds, processing what had just occurred. He had faced Earth's greatest heroes, refused their authority, and survived without bloodshed. His master would have called it weakness. But Maul recognized it as something more valuable, proof that he could stand among powers greater than himself and maintain independence through conviction rather than violence. The Justice League would watch him now, track his kills, judge his choices, but they would not control him, and that made all the difference. Red Hood returned through the window minutes later. Still alive. Good sign. They offered the League. I refused. We are now monitored but not hunted. How'd you manage that? Wonder Woman understands warriors better than Superman understands heroes. Maul turned from the window. She saw that forcing me into their cage would prove me correct about their tyranny. Diana's smart like that. Clark means well but sees everything as black and white. Red Hood moved to the weapon bench. So what now? We keep hunting? Yes, until Darkseid comes or Batman's patience expires or something else forces our hand. Maul ignited his lightsaber, both blades burning crimson. But tonight we are free, independent, answering to no one but ourselves. Best status in Gotham, Red Hood agreed. They prepared for another night of hunting, two warriors who had rejected every master who tried to claim them. The Justice League would watch, Darkseid would plot, Batman would scheme. But in this moment, they belonged to no one but themselves. And in Gotham, that made them more dangerous than any villain the city had ever known. The Penguin's Iceberg Lounge existed as Gotham's strangest contradiction. A legitimate nightclub where criminals and high society mingled under crystal chandeliers, where fortunes changed hands through backroom deals that would never see courtrooms, where Oswald Cobblepot held court as Emperor of Gotham's underworld while maintaining the veneer of respectability. Tonight, that veneer had cracks. You're telling me, the Penguin said, adjusting his monocle with one gloved hand, while the other gripped his umbrella tight enough to make the reinforced handle creak, that this horned lunatic has killed 43 of my colleagues in less than 2 weeks attracted attention from alien gods, refused the Justice League, and is still operating freely in my city? Your city? Catwoman lounged in a velvet chair, legs crossed, feline grace evident in every movement. I thought this was Batman's city, or the Joker's playground, or Superman's occasional weekend project. Gotham belongs to whoever's currently winning, Ozzy, and right now that's the demon with the laser sword. It's not a laser, Two-Face started, then caught himself. His scarred half twitched. Doesn't matter what it is. Matters that he's disrupting business. Can't move product when clients are afraid of being vaporized by some interdimensional warrior monk. The meeting had been called by Penguin, a rarity. Gotham's rogues gallery usually operated independently, united only by shared hatred of Batman. But Darth Maul had become a problem that transcended individual operations. He didn't target specific gangs or stick to territories. He hunted wherever predators operated, killing without discrimination between Penguin's operations, Two-Face's schemes, or Black Mask's slavery rings. And he was extraordinarily good at it. Black Mask lost 15 million in assets last night, Penguin continued, reviewing reports on his tablet. Warehouse burned, guards dead, product destroyed, and the demon left no trace except cauterized corpses and a calling card of ash shaped like his weapon. Theatrical, Catwoman observed. I can appreciate style, though personally I prefer not murdering everyone I meet. You're a thief, darling. Theft requires living victims. Penguin dismissed her with a wave. The rest of us operate businesses that sometimes require permanent solutions to personnel problems. This Maul creature is costing us those solutions. Poison ivy spoke from the corner, where plants grew despite the iceberg lounge's concrete construction. Maybe you deserve it. Trafficking children, poisoning the environment with drugs, corrupting the city systems, your parasites destroying the garden. Perhaps this warrior is simply pruning. Says the woman who's killed hundreds with toxic plants, Two-Face shot back. I kill to protect nature. You kill for profit. We are not the same. Ivy's green eyes glowed faintly. Though I admit curiosity about this Maul. Red Hood, I understand. Damaged boy seeking vengeance. But this warrior seems different, older. Purposeful in ways that suggest philosophy rather than rage. Philosophy doesn't pay my bills, Penguin grumbled, and it doesn't stop him from destroying criminal infrastructure across Gotham. We need a solution. Kill him, Deadshot said from where he'd been cleaning his rifle. I'm available. 3 million, half up front, and I'll put a bullet through his skull before he knows I'm there. The Parademon tried that, Catwoman said. Didn't work out well for the Parademons. Parademons are alien cannon fodder. I'm Deadshot. I never miss. Confidence is charming, Floyd, but this target has precognitive reflexes and a weapon that deflects bullets. Penguin pulled up combat footage, Maul fighting Parademons, lightsaber blurring through defensive patterns. You shoot, he sees it coming before you pull the trigger. Literally. Deadshot studied the footage, expression darkening. That's problematic. Exactly my point. Penguin deactivated the display. We cannot simply eliminate him through conventional means. He's too skilled, too fast, too aware. We need something more creative. Poison, Ivy suggested. My toxins are... He doesn't eat or drink in public. Red Hood's paranoia has taught him well. Penguin anticipated every suggestion. We can't poison him, can't shoot him, can't even find his base of operations. He moves constantly, never sleeps in the same location twice, operates with military discipline. So we target Red Hood, Two-Face said, kill Jason, remove the support structure, and have Batman declare total war on whoever kills his wayward son? Penguin's laugh was bitter. Bruce may hate Jason's methods, but he's still family. Touch the boy, and the detective becomes the Dark Knight's worst version. No thank you. The room fell silent. Each criminal present had experienced Batman's wrath when properly motivated. None wanted to see what happened when family was threatened. There is another option, a new voice said. They all turned. The Riddler stood in the doorway, having bypassed the Iceberg Lounge's security with his usual smug efficiency. He wore his question mark suit like armor, green hair perfectly coiffed, expression carrying the certainty of someone who'd solved a puzzle no one else recognized. "Edward," Penguin said with forced politeness, "how nice of you to bypass my security and crash my meeting. Your security is adequate for common criminals. I am the Riddler." He approached the table, tablet in hand. "And I bring solution to your demon problem." "We're listening," Two-Face said, coin already flipping in his scarred hand. Riddler activated his tablet, displaying files. Darth Maul operates under specific psychological parameters. He kills criminals, yes, but only those he judges as predators. He saves innocents, always. Never harms civilians. Shows mercy to those who can be redeemed. These are not random behaviors. They're moral guidelines. "So he has a code," Catwoman said. "Batman has a code too. Doesn't make him less dangerous, but it makes him predictable." Riddler smiled. "Batman's code is no killing. Therefore, any trap that forces him to choose between killing and allowing innocents to die will break him psychologically. Similarly, Maul's code is protect innocents, eliminate irredeemable predators. Therefore, we force him to choose," Deadshot finished, "between saving innocents and maintaining his moral certainty." "Precisely," Riddler's smile widened. "We create a scenario where his only options are: 1. Kill someone redeemable and prove he's the monster Batman claims, or 2. Let innocents die and violate his own protective instinct." "The Joker tried that," Penguin noted. "Didn't work. Because the Joker is chaos, he creates impossible scenarios for amusement." Riddler's voice carried disdain for his anarchist colleague. "I create riddles, logical puzzles with knowable solutions. But what if the solution is morally rather than logically impossible?" Ivy leaned forward, plants rustling. "What exactly are you proposing?" "A test." Riddler pulled up schematics. "I kidnap someone Maul might consider redeemable. A young criminal, perhaps. Someone who made bad choices but could theoretically reform. I place this person in a death trap alongside genuine innocents. Maul gets a riddle: save the redeemable criminal and risk the innocents dying, or kill the criminal to guarantee innocent survival." "That's," Two-Face paused, scarred face thoughtful, "actually clever. Either choice breaks his moral framework, and either choice proves he's not the righteous warrior he believes himself to be." Riddler closed his tablet. "He becomes either a murderer of the redeemable or someone who allows innocent death through inaction. Either way, his alliance with Red Hood fractures, his confidence shatters, and he becomes vulnerable." Penguin considered. "And what do you want in exchange for this service?" 20% of everyone's saved assets from Maul's elimination, and public acknowledgement that I solved what none of you could." Riddler's ego was as predictable as his schemes. The Riddler defeats the warrior even Superman couldn't recruit. The criminals exchanged glances. Riddler's plan had merit. It targeted psychology rather than combat capabilities, used Maul's own code against him, created a no-win scenario that would either destroy him or compromise him beyond redemption. "I'm in," Two-Face said, coin landing scarred side up. 20% is acceptable." "Agreed," Deadshot added. "Better than wasting bullets on someone who deflects them." Catwoman stood, stretching with feline grace. "I'm out. This isn't theft, it's torture. Not my style." She headed toward the exit. "But I won't stop you. Just don't be surprised when it backfires spectacularly." "Your moral high ground is noted and ignored," Penguin called after her. He turned to Riddler. "You have 72 hours and our financial backing. Create your riddle. Break this demon. Make him wish he'd never come to Gotham." Riddler's smile was predatory. "Oh, he already wishes that. I'm simply going to make that wish permanent." Darth Maul stood on a rooftop overlooking Robinson Park, extending his forcey senses across Gotham's nocturnal landscape. 12 days in this city, 47 criminals dead, unknown numbers of innocents saved, partnership with Red Hood solidified, Justice League aware but not interfering, Darkseid's attention looming like storm clouds. And still, every night, the question, was he making a difference? The city's corruption seemed endless. For every trafficker killed, 2 more emerged. Every drug operation destroyed spawned 3 smaller operations. The crime families reorganized, adapted, evolved around his efforts like bacteria developing antibiotic resistance. His master had warned him about this. Darth Sidious taught that peace through power was the only sustainable governance. Crush all opposition so thoroughly that resistance became unthinkable. Half measures accomplished nothing. Either dominate completely or accept endless conflict. But Maul was Sith no longer, and total domination was the path he'd fled. "You're brooding," Red Hood said, arriving via grapple line. "I can tell because you're standing very still and staring at the city like it personally offended you." "I am questioning effectiveness," Maul admitted. "We kill criminals. More appear. We save innocents. More are endangered. The cycle continues. Welcome to Gotham, where hope comes to die and cynicism is realism." Red Hood settled beside him. "But that's not the point. We're not trying to fix Gotham permanently. We're trying to protect people tonight, this week, this month. That's all any of us can do. Batman tries to fix it permanently, through systemic change, legal reform, inspiring symbols. And he fails repeatedly. Gotham broke Batman long before you arrived. He just refuses to admit it." Red Hood's voice carried bitter knowledge. "Bruce has been fighting this city for 15 years. Gotham's worse now than when he started. More supervillains, more corruption, more chaos. His methods don't work. But he keeps trying because admitting failure would destroy him." "Then what is the answer?" "There isn't one. That's what makes this tragic." Red Hood looked across the city. "Gotham is a wound that won't heal, a cancer in civilization. We're not cure, we're pain management. We make it hurt less for people who'd otherwise suffer more." Maul absorbed this. Pain management rather than cure. Accepting endless struggle rather than seeking ultimate victory. It was antithetical to everything his master taught. The Sith pursued absolute power precisely to avoid endless conflict. Dominate so completely that resistance became impossible. But that domination required becoming the monster. Required sacrificing everything that made one worthy of the power being pursued. "I can accept endless struggle," Maul said quietly, "if the struggle has meaning. If each night's effort protects someone who would otherwise suffer. Then you've found meaning." Red Hood stood, offering his hand. "Come on." "Oracle sent intel about a smuggling operation in the docks. Weapons headed for a street gang that's been terrorizing the Narrows. We can intercept before distribution." Maul clasped his hand, pulling himself up. Partnership, purpose. Protecting innocence one night at a time without illusion of permanent victory. It was enough. They moved toward the docks, two warriors accepting Gotham's endless corruption while fighting it anyway. Behind them, the city breathed its familiar mixture of neon and darkness. Ahead, more criminals awaited justice delivered through plasma and bullets. And in the Iceberg Lounge, the Riddler prepared his most elaborate trap yet, one designed to break a warrior's spirit rather than his body. The pieces were moving, the conflict approaching, and Gotham, as always, would drown whomever it could in the struggle between light and darkness. But tonight, Maul had purpose, had partnership, had meaning beyond what any master had given him. And that made him more dangerous than Darkseid's parademons, more resilient than Batman's interrogations, more committed than Ra's al Ghul's assassins, because he fought not from command or philosophy or ancient codes. He fought because he'd chosen to, because protecting the weak while questioning his own worthiness felt more honest than any certainty his master had offered, because walking the knife's edge between justice and vengeance required constant vigilance that kept him sharp, aware, alive in ways the Sith had never permitted. They reached the docks. Maul's lightsaber ignited, crimson light reflecting in dark water. Red Hood's pistols emerged, locked and loaded. Somewhere ahead, criminals moved weapons that would kill innocents if not stopped. Simple equation, clear purpose, meaningful action. This was who Maul had become. A warrior without master, operating in gray zones, protecting those who couldn't protect themselves, questioning every kill while making them anyway, walking an impossible balance that might eventually destroy him, but felt more right than anything in his previous existence. The Sith would call it weakness. Batman would call it murder. The Justice League would call it vigilantism. Ra's al Ghul would call it incomplete vision, but Red Hood called it partnership. The Innocents called it salvation, and Maul called it purpose. That was enough. They struck the smuggling operation with practiced coordination. Maul's forced precognition predicted attacks before they came. Red Hood's tactical knowledge identified weak points in enemy formations. Together, they were more than the sum of their parts. Two damaged warriors who'd found meaning in each other's company. 15 guards fell, no innocents harmed, weapons secured for GCPD disposal. Another night's evil prevented, if not eliminated. As they disappeared into Gotham's vertical maze, neither noticed the small camera watching from the shadows. Neither sensed the Riddler reviewing footage, calculating psychological pressure points, preparing the trap that would force Maul to choose between his competing moral commitments. The game was accelerating. Forces beyond Gotham were taking notice. Darkseid on Apocalypse, the Justice League in their watchtower, ancient powers stirring at the presence of someone who shouldn't exist in this universe. But Maul had faced his master's training, had survived bisection through pure hatred, had crossed dimensional barriers and found purpose in a city designed to break spirits. Whatever came next, Riddler's trap, Darkseid's invasion, Batman's inevitable confrontation, Maul would face it as he faced everything now. Not as Darth Maul, Sith Lord and weapon of domination, but as something new, something still being forged in Gotham's darkness. A warrior who chose his own path, protected his own values, walked his own knife's edge between light and darkness, and refused to serve any master ever again. The Crimson Shadow had come to Gotham, and Gotham, broken, corrupt, endless in its suffering, had given that shadow purpose. Hope shone brightest in the darkest night, and in a city where hope struggled to survive, Maul had become an unexpected symbol of it, not through refusing to kill, not through perfect heroism, but through choosing to protect the weak while questioning whether he deserved to be their protector. That doubt, that constant questioning, that refusal to accept easy answers, that was what separated him from the monsters he hunted. And that was what would make him legend. The legend of Gotham's Crimson Shadow spread through the city's underworld like wildfire. Whispered in dive bars, coded in criminal networks, feared by predators who had never known genuine fear before. Some called him Demon, others called him Angel. All agreed he was something Gotham had never seen, a killer with a conscience, a warrior with a code, a force of nature shaped like judgment incarnate. Darth Maul had arrived in this universe as a weapon searching for a master. He had found instead something more valuable, the freedom to choose his own targets, set his own limits, forge his own meaning from the raw materials of violence and protection. Batman watched him from the shadows, planning contingencies, preparing for the inevitable day when Maul's methods would cross lines even the Dark Knight couldn't accept. The Justice League monitored from orbit, ready to intervene if this independent warrior became the threat they feared. Darkseid calculated from Apocalypse, weighing whether this force-wielding anomaly was prey or potential, but Maul answered to none of them. He operated in Gotham's gray zones with Red Hood at his side, hunting predators who destroyed innocents, protecting those too weak to protect themselves, questioning every kill while making them anyway. The warrior without a master had become the protector without portfolio, answerable only to his own emerging code. The Riddler's trap was coming. Darkseid's interest would eventually manifest as invasion. Batman's patience would expire. The Justice League's monitoring would transform into intervention. And through it all, Gotham would continue drowning in the corruption that defined it. But tonight, in this moment, Maul stood on a rooftop overlooking the city that had given him purpose. His lightsaber hung at his side, symbol of a past he'd rejected. His partnership with Red Hood represented a future he was building. And somewhere between Sith training and Gotham's lessons, he had discovered something his master never taught. That strength could manifest as restraint. That power meant nothing without the wisdom to use it justly. That walking between light and darkness required more courage than embracing either extreme. The city breathed its familiar corruption below. Storm clouds gathered above. And standing between them, a tattooed warrior with horns and yellow eyes had become something impossible. A Sith Lord learning to be hero, a killer discovering mercy, a weapon forging itself into guardian. Gotham had broken heroes before, had corrupted idealists and destroyed symbols. But it had never faced someone who arrived already broken, already corrupted, already shaped by darkness deeper than anything Gotham could offer. Maul had been forged in darkness, trained by the greatest Sith Lord, bisected and resurrected through pure hatred, cast across dimensions into a universe that shouldn't contain him, and somehow, impossibly, in a city designed to destroy hope, he had found purpose that felt like redemption. The Crimson Shadow had come to Gotham, and Gotham, broken, corrupt, endless in its suffering, had changed that shadow into something the galaxy had never seen. A Sith Lord choosing light not from weakness, but from strength. A killer protecting innocence not from command, but from conviction. A warrior answering to no one but himself in the code he was still writing. The Justice League called him vigilante. Batman called him killer. Ra's al Ghul called him potential. Darkseid called him target. But the innocents he saved called him something simpler: hope. And in Gotham's endless night, hope shone brightest of all. The legend was just beginning. The Crimson Shadow would burn across Gotham's darkness for as long as predators threatened innocence, as long as corruption demanded resistance, as long as one warrior refused to bow to any master. Darth Maul had come to Gotham seeking survival. He had found something better. Purpose earned through choice rather than imposed through training. Partnership forged through respect rather than dominated through power. And the possibility, fragile as Gotham's fleeting moments of peace, that even someone shaped as a weapon could become something more. The storm was coming. Riddler's trap, Darkseid's invasion, Batman's reckoning. But whatever faced him, Maul would meet it not as Sith Lord or Justice League member or League of Assassins recruit, but as himself, independent, flawed, questioning, and absolutely committed to protecting the innocent while refusing to serve anyone ever again. In the City of Shadows, the Crimson Shadow had found his light, and hope shone brightest in the darkest night.